Ooh, testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, 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 testing. 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 USB. Alright, so there's 2 likes, so that means there's 2 people watching. I really hope they're people I'm aware of. Anyway. Ah, Miguel! Miguel, it's been a while since you've been the first one. Hey, Miguel! How are you doing? Miguel, what are you watching this season? I'm still a little bit behind on... Oh, great. 1 second, man. I'm already getting errors on YouTube. Oh, excellent, Sarge. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Hey, Sarge. Yo, Sarge, have you been well? Just, you know, I realize I don't really know what you're up to nowadays, and I just want to make sure that you're all good. World's Best Assassin? Ah, okay, yeah. I got my World's Best Assassin video coming up. The second episode came out, so I just stopped my first episode and I'm just putting them together. You'll like the power exposition. Yes, Miguel, you're very right. I did. I totally did. No, you're very right, man. You're very right. So yeah, I have my review for that one, but because the second episode came up before I uploaded, I'm just gonna put them together in one video, just to kind of, you know, make it easier. Oh, Johnny Bravocado. Hey, man. Today was alright. Today was pretty normal. I don't think there was any like big problems with today. And oh, Sar, Chris, Animamus, Johnny. Yeah, okay, so I got everyone. And oh, you got the video. Okay, this is quite the funky spot. What he has to make this work or could flop. All the people are going after Deku haven't done anything. Yeah, we'll have to see. Right, it's on break next week, so we have extra time theories. What's happening next chapter? No, it's on break next week. No, that's unfortunate. It doesn't seem made by the same person as Redo of Healer. Yeah, right. Okay. Good to hear, Sarge. Good to hear. And yeah, Miguel. Like really, for me, if you look at it, Redo of Healer is just. On paper, Redo of Healer seems more made to make money, and then this is the one that actually he cares about. Like if that's how I would interpret it as well. Oh, Jason saying, "Hey, I watched your video. It was decent. I think Hori has put himself in a situation where there really isn't any win right, just a decision that upsets the least of people, and that's best for the plot, of course." Oh, and thanks, Chris. I'm glad you guys got to see the video before I came on. I'm actually really relieved. I had to go quick and just make it a simple one, just giving like the basic ideas, and then hopefully we could talk more, and then like officially get my bet in there. But yeah, thinking about it, like one of the things I talked about in the video was pretty much just considering everything that we have in the background with Attack on UA and the fact that this Izuku's story. Really, like personally, I would be interested in seeing the author try and make things tense with Star and Stripe in the background. With the way that All For One talks about her. I would love to see if he could juggle that kind of threat in a way that makes Izuku not the final weapon, but we'll have to see. Have you seen... And no, sorry, I didn't see Dan Exclaim's video today. I was just kind of rushing through anime and the editing for this video I put up just a few minutes ago. You ready to rumble tonight? Ty, no. So I saw someone posting a second picture of Izuku with All Might on the Sky Whale, but All Might had a red cape with a yellow outfit. I'm starting to think the whale is real. Okay. And what if Stars and Stars isn't an act, since she's from, yeah, it wouldn't be surprised if she's a genetically modified. It's time title? Oh yeah, here we go. All front has hot. I and I. Ah, oh, no. Oh no, this is gonna be Identity Crisis. Okay, so I got the extra. Okay, so I got the information. Chapter 330. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. 330. Okay, so I got the information. Chapter 330. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys. Okay, you know what? I'll just post this on here for you guys Yeah, Miguel. You know me, Miguel. I love trying to reverse engineer what happened here, and I do think to some degree, like what we know for sure is that the earliest that she was conceived of as an idea is when we get the silhouettes. But really, when you look at the international heroes are just they're weird. The fact that they come in and there's a movie that's centered around, well, not centered, but features some of those international heroes really do feel like an afterthought. Um, so it's just really tricky. I do wonder what he was thinking when he was going in with this girl, but this is one of those things that I really hope we get interviews about this. I would really love to know just the thought process that he had going into it, just so that we could understand better. Identity Crisis, the chapter. Yeah, man. Oh man, I was gonna title the speculation video "Identity Crisis versus Patriotism," but it was too long. Oh, I should have done that. Did I do Identity Crisis versus Patriotism? No, I think I did Identity Crisis versus Strongest. Actually, what did I title that video? I only did it a few minutes ago. I've already forgotten. Oh no, yeah, there it is. Identity Crisis. All right, cool. Yeah, no, this is excellent. Um, so speaking legitimately, the fact that we're going in hot and heavy with Boku and Ore, or Ore to Boku or whatever. Ore is used by Shigaraki, Boku by All for One. The fact that we're already doing that, it's like it's definitely jumping off of the previous chapter of Shigaraki wondering who he is. Um, yeah, Identity Crisis. Looking good, champ. What's your favorite cookie? I like chocolate chip cookies, especially the soft ones. Um, and for a huge cliffhanger, I hope not. If it's I feel like this is gonna be a lot about Shigaraki. You know, this might be going. This might also be leading up into the Shigaraki being an amalgam of two personalities. Like at some point, if I'm All for One, like one of my options here is I want to meld my personality perfectly with Shigaraki, so that by the end of it, it's neither Shigaraki nor Vestige. It's a new Shigaraki in a way, right? So I do wonder if this one will kind of lead us in towards the personality meld. Although a personality meld would be quite different to kind of have to deal with. Because if you do a personality meld, a lot of things suddenly, like a lot of the parameters that we try and distinguish Shigaraki by kind of disappear at that point. And yeah, pretty much. I hope we get an. If we're going to go in with I really hope we get to see some kind of dynamics. I want to see the dynamics of how this relationship works going forward into the future. I'm shocked that Shigaraki and All for One are working together. I'm not. I mean, like, All for One is in Shigaraki's head. I mean, at the end of the day, All for One's doing everything, or sorry, Shigaraki's doing everything All for One wants. I don't think All for, like, and then whenever Shigaraki doesn't do what All for One wants, he just yoinks control back. My younger sister doesn't like the Shigaraki. She said he looks like a homeless crackhead looking for the next fix that needs lotion. Agreed. Oh, White Despair, glad you like him too. How long do you think this fight will last? Honestly, I don't want to spend too much time with it. How much time do we spend with Nagant? If we go with the best option, that being a nice equal fight, maybe 3 chapters. I think 3 chapters would be fair. Did you catch? Oh no, not yet, Animamus. Thank you, White Despair. You're also smarter than All for One. Uh, Are there any games that let people be like super warlike? Are there any games that simulate war? Also, Sarge, man, I spent a little bit of my morning this morning building up Noel. I am so happy for with my Noel right now. I can't wait to show you the artifacts. Well, the artifacts are still my gladiator set, but I'm very happy about it. Like, you know, I still need to optimize a bit for crit rate and crit damage, I think, because I think my flower could probably could be a little bit better. But overall, still very happy with my Noel. Nope. Where's the last guy? There he is. Also, Shigi doesn't have a good reason to go against All For One yet. Oh, yeah, no, but Chris, remember, Shigaraki hates All For One. Apparently, according to All For One. Like, I still remember Shigaraki trying to dust him inside of Vestige World, and All For One just kind of laughing at it. Oh, Jason, so the reason I'm talking about that is because I was looking it up, and in one of the chapters, All For One did say, and it's happening while Decay was going, he was saying like, oh look Shigaraki, like your hate is breaking the rules, or your hate is burning away the rule that One For All sets about whether or not it can be stolen. I think he said like his hate was eroding that rule or something like that. Anyway, like it's just so metaphysical. I wish it wasn't that metaphysical, but what can you really do? Do 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 do. Totally not 5-star Noel. Oh no, this is a full-on 6-star, bruh. Like, I mean, the good thing with the 4 stars is that it's very likely that you will have them at 6-star, at 6 constellations eventually. And for Noel, it's easier because you get like I think 1 free one of her guaranteed by when you start the game. I mean, the ones that are easiest to 6 constellation are, I believe, Noel, Barb, and Zhongling because of how many free versions you get. So that's nice. Come on, we're almost... Oh, damn it! Alright, boys. It begins. I see some kind of thing here. Yo, I just caught, it looks like this is going to be, it does look this is going to be symbiosis. Okay, so we're getting mental dynamics. So do we have any last minute theories before the chapter comes out? My last minute theories were in that video. The next 5-star is a Geo Claymore that scales damage with defense. Yes! I think after I also saw that he's going to be crazy DPS. So I think I'm pulling for him. How battle damage do you see Star and Stripes? Actually, I don't see her really battle damaged. I think we'll have a repeat of Izuku fighting while the class is performing, but this time the stakes are higher. Oof, that'd suck. Okay, so let me read this. The chapter begins with one of the pilots of the jets answering Star's question from last chapter. He said that this is Tomura Shigaraki, not All For One, and that he can use shockwave attacks. Why does he know this and not Star? The jets then activate a force field and ask Star if they are going to attack or retreat. She replies, smash, obviously. They then get into a specific formation and go to attack. Meanwhile, Shigaraki is talking to himself, saying that he feels weird. At the same time that he knows he is Tomura Shigaraki, he simultaneously has no doubt that he's All For One. He begins to attack. He uses a combo of radio waves, push, and encumbrance, but the jet dodge it. Encumbrance? What's encumbrance? Does anyone know what encumbrance is? I don't recognize that one. Yes, it always forces me to be warlike. Can never be civil, especially with nukes. I can go full on Xerxes from 300. I feel like a god king. Hody's trolling us. People forget he was enhanced. These jets are doing everything. Use your quirk. Yo, if the jet... you know what? Not gonna lie. I did not consider the jets being important in any degree here. So... Yo, what if this girl's quirk are the jets? Actually, yeah. What if her quirk is creating? Would that work? Creating battleships and jets? What if her quirk is the power of war? Oh man, the jokes about nukes might actually be important. Mr. Amon, just go up in the chat and you'll see it. Way down, basically amount of weight you carry. Okay, encumbrance. Yeah, alright. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. If this girl can just create jets, or if she can just empower the the weapons of war. Oh, that'll be a pretty cool quirk. Weapon of war. Oh my god, that would suck. Oh my god, that's so American. Oh my gosh, I don't know what. And Stars and Stripe. Oh my gosh, yeah, this is how Stars and Stripe bring freedom to the world through war. I mean, that's how the States does it. They just bring freedom through war. Her quirk is democracy. Enforced democracy, man. Think maybe that could use some smash All Might never use, whereas Star Smashes? I don't know. Yo, if this girl is... Maybe that's why she's so stuck onto the jet. Maybe, like, actually, she can meld with the weapons of war. The fact that we're driving into it makes me feel the fight might be where that situation gets resolved. Well, what do you think about it so far, White Despair? Like, Tomura is already saying he has no doubt that he's all for one. Like, that is... For me, that's really interesting, right? Because I'm going for the... Like, Shigaraki needs to be maintained to some degree because you need the hate factory. But if he's having an issue where he thinks he's all for one as well, that's really interesting because that's saying that the vestige is really rooted deep inside of his subconscious right now. I saw the jets being a liability, but not full on in the fight. She may be a literal war machine factory. So it starts like going to nuke Japan and destroy all for one. Yo, at this point, like, America is the only country that's ever used a nuke on someone else. I don't know, man. Maybe her quirk allows her to maneuver the jets and the pilots are just here to operate weapons. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It'd be kind of weird if the pilots are an extension of her quirk, because then that's like kind of Dark Shadow levels of creating a second consciousness. Then again, there's a lot of weird things, right? Those jets are smaller than her. No. We're getting... I'm getting too excited about this. There's no way we're going to go with a full meta type quirk. She might have patriotism, which just lets her empower everything that belongs to her country or something stupid like that. The big question is whether or not those jets... Like, look, if the jets turn out to be part of the quirk, that's going to be wild. She could actually fulfilling his dream of being all for one. I think the fact that we immediately start tackling the issue, even after it makes it seem this fight will largely focus on the issue and by extension most likely resolve it. No, I agree with you. Like, when I'm seeing it here, I do think we're going to further into it. Like, honestly, already, for me, having Shigaraki say that he simultaneously has no doubt that he's all for one is a really big deal for me because it pushes symbiosis further. Shiga lets go of all for one by giving the quirk to Deku. The vestige in Deku imprisoned the all for one vestige. Is that the ending? Oh, that'd be pretty cool. No, that'd be pretty cool. Like, if he forces the quirk into Izuku and Izuku imprisons it with the vestiges, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, no, I'd be pretty happy with that. I do think the vestiges self-destruct though. At least the brothers self-destruct to take him out. But that'd be a pretty cool one. Her being near the jets buff the jet makes them faster and more durable. Yeah, can't she just EMP the jets? Maybe they're prepared for that though. Well, that's the thing. The jets shouldn't be able to outrun an electromagnetic pulse. Like, but I think it wouldn't be that hard to Faraday cage the jets. The jets should be a Faraday cage, so the EMP shouldn't be affecting them, because the States likely has anti-EMP technology. So honestly, EMP should be irrelevant against the States' cutting-edge technology. Oh, Jason, the radio waves would be an EMP quirk, because a radio wave is an electromagnetic wave, right? Well, I don't know. Like, if I don't know what's the frequency that you need for a good EMP. If it's an issue of frequency, then maybe radio waves can't do it. But electromagnetic pulse, he's doing electromagnetic pulses of radio waves, for sure. And Seth, yeah. Oh wait, Seth. If you're still there, Seth, I was gonna say thank you for your leaks, your translation last time. I didn't get to thank you on the Discord, but I kind of hoped I'd be able to thank you here. Let me just... let me just check this again. Tamora, the Jets activate a force field. Okay, the Jets also have a force field, so they should be fine. Oh, Ty, I missed your comment. Maybe she's a technomancer. Would be pretty cool. Gotcha, man. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. If she's a technomancer, then yeah, that could... I could see how... But she's so buff. But yeah, that'd be cool. Let's see. Just going off... My current theory is that this fight is where symbiosis relationship ends. You're giving Shigaraki a lot of credit, man. Shigaraki's... Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, God. Holy. Something weird's happening. What is this? Well, this is even worse. Holy crap, I can see now why this girl had to do something crazy. Oh, no, wait, no, it's a reality warper. She's actually a reality warper. Wait, so let's see this. Shigaraki says it's a contest to see who will touch the other first, but Star is already prepared to go all out. She says, in a space 100 meters away from me, the atmosphere ceases to exist. Oh, no, it is negation. It is physical phenomena negation. Soon after, we see a huge transparent star forming around Shigaraki. His eyes begin to bleed, and he cannot breathe. Star and Stripe's quirk is called New Order. By touching something and calling its name, she can impose a new rule over it. It actually is phenomena negation, but worse because it's actually more powerful. Didn't the Bleach character have a guy that could do this, impose rules on things by calling their names? He had a power related to names. Anyway, going back to this. Yeah, man. I'm actually... Yeah, okay. And just to make it clear, the only reason I got onto the idea of physical phenomena negation was because Jason brought up that she was ignoring a lot of things in the high altitude. So that's pretty interesting. No, so... Oh, you know what, too? This does empower the Jets as well, because if the quirk is she can impose a new rule over anything that she's touching, then she likely imposed rules on the Jets to give them new properties. So she is actually able to boost everything. Dear God. What an insane quirk. Like, this is a whole new level. This is actually full-on reality warping. Yeah, and we were talking about this too the other, like, I think on Tuesday, that for this to be something big, it has to be a reality warper. But I didn't think we'd actually get a reality warper like this. Okay, so let me just read your guys' comments. Star is God. Radio waves are a part, but they aren't able to induce it, at least not to my knowledge. Okay. Well, I guess like an EMP must be a specific name for a specific spectrum in the... Or must be something that only happens in a specific part. I mean, because like mechanically, an electromagnetic pulse, that doesn't exclude a radio wave. But I get what you're saying. Like, maybe for the EMP that we need to be higher in the frequency spectrum. Anyway, Star Godlike, so New Order stronger than One for All. I think if it's used intelligently, she can order reality. Can't blame All for One for wanting that. Bleach character, reality warping, guessed correctly. You thought the same thing. I was about to say someone was talking about. Let's go. Holy crap, we were close, but that's insane. Well, the thing is, Ty, like, I think yours is still valid here too, because she could probably change the laws of... She could probably impose an order on something being like, gravity doesn't affect this, or gravity affects you 100 times over. So pretty much everything that we were saying can be replicated by this quirk. Let's see. Two characters from Bleach, Grammy and Zero Division Captain Ichibe. It's not that I'm giving Shigaraki credit here, Chip. I'm simply trying to analyze writing techniques being employed here. The fact that we're seemingly tackling this relationship head on leads me to believe that this will be resolved soon, or else it becomes repetitive. Well, I don't think it'll be resolved. I don't think that Shigaraki will gain anything in this fight that allows him to be himself. Because what we've seen here is, so what Despair, from my perspective, you're arguing for Shigaraki's autonomy, and you've been arguing it for it for a very long time. But from my perspective, we've seen Shigaraki try to be himself. We've seen him controlled. We've seen Shigaraki be given control back by All For One's graces. And now when we see Shigaraki after a quick break, he's talking about becoming or being simultaneously All For One. This isn't the narrative of someone that's suddenly going to break free, especially when there's no real stress occurring here. Not when you're ultimately doing something that All For One wants. When All For One is talking about a great opportunity and you're the one that shows up there to exact or to act on his great opportunity, this isn't the situation of someone breaking free. This is a situation of someone digging a hole further into it. So when it comes to the writing techniques, I understand what you're saying with the issue of it becomes repetitive. I don't think it's going to be repetitive if Shigaraki just flat out shuts up after this and accepts that he's going to be All For One's symbiotic double. At this point, and this is the thing, Shigaraki's been wanting to say that he is his own person this entire time. But this entire time, like, I've doubted him, and I still very much doubt him, because Shigaraki's pretty much just a small stain in the history of All For One. Like, this is still All For One's game, and Shigaraki has nothing that really allows him to step away from All For One other than hatred. And that hatred is largely something that was manufactured by All For One. So in this situation, we're not going to be in a situation where Shigaraki gains autonomy here, because Shigaraki needs to be made a villain. So from all my perspectives, I see this getting worse for Shigaraki, as opposed to better. Again, in my perspective on this one. Star Stripes, let's see. But I do understand what you said about repetitive, but again, I don't find the escalation to full-on symbiosis at this stage repetitive. That feels like what I was waiting for. So I'm, like I said again, I'm very happy about the symbiosis situation. I mean, mind you, I think this is going to lead to Shigaraki killing All For One, the physical body, and only playing into All For One's plans, allowing the vestige to take even more root within Shigaraki. Like, I think that's where we're going here. This kind of power tends to not do well. We had one power like that in Black Clover with Devil Word Magic, and in Boruto manga as well there's a power like that. It kind of depends on how flexible it is, you know? I know what you're talking about. But if she's the only reality warper here, it's going to be an issue. The other big issue is, how does Erasure actually interact? Oh, they're typing. How does Erasure actually affect the effects of New Order, right? In this situation, Erasure probably wouldn't cancel anything that New Order creates unless New Order requires input from the original user while it's active. So we'll have to see. Like, there are a few spots here that might be interesting. Radiated, electric, or magnetic. Oh, here we go. Guys, I will read your guys' comments after we go through this one. God, Shigaraki actually came in with a lot of different quirks. While Shigaraki is stunned, the jets start shooting lasers at him from all directions. The pilots think they have him beaten, but Star warns that it's too early to brag. Shigaraki combines Reflect with Diffuse and sends the lasers back. One of them goes towards her, but she touches it and says, "The laser will be held by me," which indeed it does. A laser moves at the speed of light, brah. Like, this girl was able to catch something going at the speed of light. Oh yeah, no, Jason, I agree that it's an emitter quirk, but I mean the effect of it. Like, for instance, if Buddy Girl creates a new order on a rock, right? And it's like the rock will be melting into lava, right? If Aizawa looks at her, does he cancel the effect that's already ongoing before that? We actually don't know, because we don't know whether or not this power works on One Piece rules, where if you knock out the main body's power, the rest of the effects of it go away. I'm trying to think if there's been any examples of Aizawa canceling the products of quirks, but not really. Like, Aizawa can't cancel Shoto's ice after it's been formed, right? So that's kind of what it depends on. Like, also, Aizawa probably can't cancel out the stickiness of Mineta's balls once they're already out. So it really depends on how we are comprehending this particular quirk. Okay, I gotta read through you guys' stuff real quick. Makes sense that she was trained by All Might. Now she's something else. She wasn't being affected by the G-force, but made the defense even faster, which explains them making the trip so fast. The death of inner child Tenko seems more likely. She's acting out. She needs prep time since she doesn't have super speed. She can get blitz easy. She's also another character that just stopped by Eraserhead. Why does All For One go after Eraserhead? Eraser is like the most OP utility quirk. Yes, I agree with that. Seeing this quirk makes me think it'll be way shorter now. It's one of those fights where the first mistake finishes the fight. Yep, pretty much. Trip, you're feeding my soul with this analysis. I'm curious what the limitation of the quirk is. I just think that we're nearing a similar issue we managed to avoid with Izuku's solo adventure, where things were about to become repetitive. Fair enough. Joe and Jump never do well with reality warping characters. Stealth bombers came straight out of Star Wars. Holy Science is so bad. Damn lightsaber. It might be like Mineta quirk. That was such a Star Wars move by Horikoshi, but she couldn't have time to speak to use it. I'm curious what her downside. I feel like Horikoshi is setting up the story in a way for Shigaraki to be saved from All For One. Maybe it doesn't affect living things clause as every reality warping but it does affect living it does affect reality. It does affect living things because it affects Star and Stripe. Let me just check. Because she caused a star to form around him, right? The atmosphere. Oh, no. Maybe Miguel is right. In a space 100 meters away from me, the atmosphere ceases to exist. Oh, you know what? This is really overpowered. Because if the rules are she needs to touch something and call its name, by touching empty space or by touching the atmosphere, she has control over the entire atmosphere. That's probably why she had to give the specific rules in a space 100 meters away, because she had to limit it. But it's funny that she didn't define the dimensions of space, so it looks like the quirk itself has a limit of how much space it can affect, because all she said was the distance from where this space gets applied. And then Shigaraki survived a vacuum. So let me read this again. Shigaraki is stunned to start shooting lasers at him from all directions. Shigaraki combines Reflect with Diffuse and sends the lasers back. One of them goes... How did Shigaraki survive the vacuum? No, we have to kind of be looking at whether or not Miguel's... Right now, Miguel's idea here that it might not be able to affect living things. But then again, Shigaraki said this all depends on who touches who first. So she must be able to affect living things. Yo, I don't know. Like I don't know about what happened with Shigaraki in that vacuum. There's not enough information in these things. Super regen. No, I'm aware of super regen, but I'm just wondering, what happens if you get suffocated when you have super regen? Yeah, I'm just wondering about the dynamics of that vacuum there. I just kind of want to know how he got out of it. And I do want to know the dimensions of the vacuum space that Star was able to create. I guess we'll get a sense of how big the space she can affect is when we see the image. And yeah, good point overall for Jason and Kayla. Holy's abusing that super regeneration quirk. Yeah, I really do think turning off Shigaraki's quirks might be the way to go here. Just because that regen is a little bit too much. Like, if she just says, like, Shigaraki cannot regenerate. Oh, I wonder if they can pull some kind of weird maneuver here with names. Because she said, like, so the quirk works by calling its name. There might be a really important reason as to why those pilots had to tell Star what Shigaraki's name is. Like that moment at the beginning where he says, "This is Tomura Shigaraki, not all for one." That might have been really important. Those pilots, it might be in their best interest to know the identity of the people they face. Because I'm wondering if what exactly defines Shigaraki's name, right? How is someone... What attaches a name to a person? Because it's one thing to talk about a concept, but once you're calling something's name... Because Shigaraki's name, Shigaraki Tomura, is a villain moniker. Shigaraki's name is Tenko. I wonder if there's some kind of weird legalese that the author could pull here and say like, "Oh, ha ha ha, Star and Stripe. His name is not Tomura Oda typing." That would be so cheap though if they try and go in with, "Oh, his name's actually not Shigaraki. It's Tomura. What blah blah blah." Oh no, sorry, it's Tenko. That'd be really cheap. Because if we're going to be talking about names, we should just be going with if someone recognizes, if you call someone's name and they recognize that's essentially their name. Oh, that's another good one, Jason. But that's just, ooh, this is really kind of I hope it doesn't get finicky, but we're now in a territory where we're dealing with a reality warper with actually really lax rules on this. I wonder what happens if like she touches a stool and calls it a table instead. No, ideally they just keep it simple, and by the virtue that Shigaraki recognizes Shigaraki as his name, by that virtue the quirk works. Hopefully there's not going to be legalese here, because that'd be pretty stupid. Alright, let me read your guys' comments. If she can affect living things, does that mean she can make herself a giant? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Is there a time limit to what she affects, or does Shigaraki doesn't need oxygen? Hard to say from the spoilers. Logan choked his son to death because son got same powers. Wait, does Shigaraki name count then because he's Tenko? I agree off that, yeah. To be honest, I think she winning just greatly increased. I just feel Star and Stripe has too good of a start. Yeah, yeah, she's gonna touch him and her quirk won't work because she's never Tomura Tenko, or sorry, Tomura or All for One. But his name is Tenko Shimura. Oh no, like Noragami Yato's real name thing. Maybe calling out a name is something as simple as saying body, referring to a human body. Ideally, once when Izuku saves Shigaraki, he'll call him Tenko. That'll be the driving name for him. Yeah, I wonder if Star and Stripe quirk will end up affecting this symbiosis relationship. Considering that Tomura is completely unsure who exactly with Star saying something like Tomura dies. Oh, here we go. We got more. Yeah, man, this is going a little bit too fast, brah. This is going a little bit too... She's even getting the flashback. Boys and girls, you know what happens. When you get a flashback, the end is nigh. Oh, God. She's actually going to wipe in a chapter. Oh, dear God. She's going to wipe in a chapter. The author's actually doing it. He's actually going to make her wipe in a chapter. The flashback is here. It doesn't matter anymore. You guys remember when this happened to Nagant. Once you had the flashback show up, it was over. Okay, we then see an internal monologue from her, and she's saying that she can only create 2 rules at a time. She always keeps one on herself, which gives her super strength. Great. Starts talking about how she was saved by an exchange student who came from Japan when she was a little girl. She and her family were on their way to Santa Monica Pier when they were approached by a robber. While she was begging for her sister to be spared, All Might appeared and defeated him. She says that those 2 antenna-like hair will forever be stored in her memory and that he became her spiritual master. So I think we talked about this. This is just probably a fangirl. That's why she made her own hair look like All Might's, only with 8 antennas. She wants to contribute even more to peacekeeping than he did. Yo, this is gonna end in her getting decimated. Like, if we don't see her like with missing the whole middle part of her body, she'll have gotten out of this extremely lucky. Holy crap! Honestly, now I'm expecting her to not even last this chapter. Yeah, no, White Despair. It's gone to that direction as well. Yo, what if All For One comes back at the end of this and he's like, this entire time, I made sure to give Shigaraki a fake name because I wanted to make sure that Star and Stripe could not affect him. This is funny. She's definitely gonna touch him and her quirk won't work. Oh yeah, no man, this is really funny. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Oof. Yeah, like in the same moment he touches her to decay her, he takes the quirk and it's done. Yeah, no, way to go, Horikoshi. Way to go. Hori is the real winner. I guess I wasn't wrong. She can't lose. I'm not worried for her personally since I still don't know her as a character. I'm more scared for the heroes if she loses. Hori likes to give death flags and never execute on it. Yeah, that's true. But defeat flags. He does execute on defeat flags. He has way too strong of a start. The fight literally starts off with her creating a star. Her odds just plummeted. Nah, like, there's still a possibility. You know, the second user quirk is going to be hella OP when magnified by 1 for all. That's why it hasn't been revealed yet. Yeah, that one's going to have to do something. It's going to have to do something crazy at this point. But, you know, at this point, if Shigaraki just kills her and doesn't take away the quirk, that'll be pretty worthwhile. Like, heck, man, if Star and Stripe realizes that Shigaraki is going to be powerful... Okay, if we're going to go down the direction of this girl dying now, if she dies, she could do a thing where in the split second where she realizes that her quirk didn't work on Shigaraki, she changes the order on herself to make her quirk unstealable. If she does that, then we get into a situation where nothing has happened. Yeah, no, this is gonna be extremely hilarious. Like on the video, I was making fun of the idea that the author would make the situation turn into nothing. Like, you know, like you don't change the status quo. And I really hope he doesn't go into the situation where he doesn't change the status quo. And what I mean by that is if the author goes into the situation and makes it so that the only thing that changes is Star and Stripe is dead, that's gonna be really unfortunate, because then it's like, why even bother introducing her? Why bother going through the motions just because you want to make Shigaraki look great? But let's not berate him just yet because we don't know. At this point, I think letting her live is going to be the good move here. I really want her to live now because this is just ridiculous. That quirk already, there's a lot of just concerns with it when it comes to that name rule. Looking at it here, like, him also saying that she can only create 2 rules at a time and she has one that gives her super strength active at all times, that in of itself is concerning because he had to go out of his way to point out that there was one affecting her. Starshine better not be a delivery girl who gives All For One a special package. No, pretty much, Kayla. This is one of my concerns as well. No, that might be it. That might be it. And I made the joke in that video too, like, because otherwise she's going to be a transportation device for her quirk. But no, at this point, if she's going to go down like a chump, at this point, pray that she changes the order on herself at the last minute to let herself die, but not give away the quirk. But yeah, you know, okay, they're typing. But this last line, she wants to contribute even more to peacekeeping than he did. That's the line of a character that says it, and then in the next shot is dead. So let's see. Is Star and Stripe about to die? Is the next line, and she's dead? Let's see what let's see what the spoilers say. What are you gonna fridge another female character? That last is probably gonna be a range attack too. It has. Oh yeah, it has to be, right? Because Buddy Guy had a gauntlet that seemed to fire things. Is Quirk gonna get stolen his fight and live after this battle? Yeah, no, man. Oh yeah, if she made herself untouched. Oh, here we go. Okay, we got confirmation, man. We got confirmation here. Shigaraki is pissed because everyone keeps talking about All Might no matter what country their farm starts. Says that that's precisely why he became known as a symbol of peace, and warns him that her quirk also works on people. Then she says, if tomorrow Shigaraki moves even 1 centimeter, his heart will stop. Yeah, this is gonna be the critical moment right here. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, I'm already cringing for her. Oh no! This is stupid. This revolves around legal names. No, man, I really hope it's more what Jason said of like Shigaraki doesn't know what to refer to himself as. Oh no. And you know, like one note here very quickly about Viz translation. Viz translation last week, they said, "What am I exactly?" That I really do think that's the bad translation. They should have done what the fan translation said and changed the question to "Who am I?" Because who is way more important for this situation. Oh no. I mean, guys, yeah, I mean, we're all here, guys. We were all here at the same time. We were all feeling this. We all got really concerned when we started seeing it. Yo, but Jason, you know, if this was a Bleach character, the Bleach character would have been able to do it with that name. Because he would have just been like, no, do you recognize your... Well, actually, it all depends on whether or not Shigaraki recognizes himself as Shigaraki. But, you know, a Bleach character would have been able to overcome it, I think. Because Bleach is much more used to last-minute shenanigans like this. Yeah, no, man. This is gonna suck. You know, now the subversion here would be to have Shigaraki just be like, I don't need to move to kill you, and just do another quirk or something like that. But yo, I really hope we get a segment of All For One just being like, ha ha ha, and that is why I changed his name. Because that'll be pretty hilarious, dude. The fight just became a massacre. Why Horikoshi, not the waifu? This is going to pull on a technicality, isn't it? Either his name is, or All For One takes over and it's no longer counts as Tamura. Oh, that's a good one, Viz. That's actually a really good one. Star Strike, weakness, female character, My Hero Academia. He can't get away with this. Just as a quirk was going to be stolen, Deku arrives at the last second. Star Strike looks like she's going to die in this battle. This is the same way Ichibe died when he fought Bach and he took his name. Ah! Thanks for the memory, man. That's unfortunate. It's going to be hilarious if it comes down to using government names. Yeah. But okay, so that's how... Is that how Bach actually went down with that one? Alright. Yeah, that's alright. Okay, so the Bleach characters can get screwed over by this. Ah, damn it. Okay, got you, Jason. Yeah, actually, I think... Please make this respectable. Alright, because guys, like in the video I put up before this, I was thinking like, alright, you know... A quick fight, like a crazy win, is going to be pretty bad because it's going to make Star look really stupid here. But if you have the sneakiness of All For One coming in here, I do think what Viz pointed out would be sneaky. I think that would be worthwhile. But holy crap, man. I don't know if this is going to be a narrow victory for Shigaraki. Because this doesn't feel narrow. This just feels like going through the motions. Oof. His art stopping would barely stop Tamura. He already managed to bring himself back from the dead once. Oh, don't remind me. That still just leaves such a bad taste in my mouth, man. A bit too stupid for my taste. Yeah, no, okay, I'm kind of rooting for Viz's idea here. Because if you do a All For One swap, I think that is much more fair. Man, if this relies on names, Star should have gotten out of there the moment she heard this guy questioning who he was. Like, if I'm her, and I hear a guy with an identity crisis, I get out of there. Well, mind you, if I was her, I'd also test to see whether or not I can beat Identity Crisis. But if I can't beat Identity Crisis, I'm out of there, man. Like, I don't know. Touch the atmosphere. 100 feet away from me, the atmosphere erupts into smoke. That paralyzes. Paralyzing smoke. Just do that and just run. Just run. Or get out of there. Like, the atmosphere ahead of me creates a wormhole that lets me pass through and I end up in Japan. Why can't she make a wormhole? Whatever. I'm not gonna get into it. Yeah, no, man. At that point, I would have ran. The moment I hear Identity Crisis, I'm out. Nah, I wouldn't risk it unless she's able to overcome Identity Crisis. I wouldn't risk it. He tried to kill Bach and destroy his soul and remove it for stealing 100 nights from the future to power a spell. Bach kills him by activating the Almighty and returning his name to himself. Oh! Oh, okay, that's a little bit more involved there. Right now, Shigaraki doesn't know who he is. This isn't going to end well. He has Hulk levels, multiple personalities. Let's see. I feel like the confusion about her will be the reason it doesn't work. The chapter is even titled after this fact. He beat her without showing his strength. Tenko, a man literally too angry to die. What would be interesting is if her orders stay after she dies, and it comes back way later in the final battle, ends up killing Shigaraki. Oh, that'd be nice. Imagine #1 hero in the US would know by now her quirk extends to a person's name. Yeah, you'd hope. You'd hope. You'd really hope. You'd really hope this girl would test the limits of her quirk. Like, honestly, she should have. She should have been trying to see, but it's also such a unique situation. You gotta really hope All For One takes over and moves it. Ugh, we're gonna find out in a quick bit here. They're not typing yet, so I can play here for a while. Oh man, this is... No, I really hope we don't legalese our way out of this, man. Don't do like such a lawyer way of winning. Don't make this into like so Faustian, man. No. Don't make this like find the fine wording. That's gonna suck. We shouldn't be doing this in Hero Academia. If you have a reality warping power, you should be able to overcome simple identity crisis. Oh, this is gonna be good. Alright, yo, Viz, I wanted to show ya. I want to show... Oh, wait, no, I don't got... If only she said, if you take one more step, if the person I'm currently looking... Or anything else, it doesn't rely on names. But unfortunately, her power relies on names, right? That's the unfortunate thing. It relies on a name. Like, the power doesn't work without calling its name. It's too bad. You hope she knows that people... But people's intelligence have been shown to be non-existent from time to time. Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, idiocy is the best tool for a plot, or incompetency is the best tool for a plot. So, what can you really do? All it takes is a moment of incompetency. Identity is greater than reality. God, their image it seems All For One does take over. Thank God. At least that's reasonable. Thank God. Thank God. At least there's something nice there. Okay, so you guys are saying there's some on Twitter, right? So I will, let me go over and investigate. And yeah, plain old super strength is God tier, definitely. Definitely, man, definitely. So I'm just checking on Twitter real quick right now just to investigate. Give me a quick moment here, guys. Man, this is hilarious, man. Like, holy crap. Like, what are we doing? Sorry, just trying to find the pictures. Okay, I found them. Does anyone want me to post the pictures on the chat? Let me know. God, Star and Stripe's face is ugly. There's just one shot of her that just looks... I don't know, man. I don't like comics that much, so I don't really know whether or not this is actually... I don't know whether or not this is actually mocking American style or just a love letter to American style. Just with some of the shots here. Just like some of it's a little bit too ugly. I guess it's more 80s than ugly. Okay, guys, I got the picture. Yeah, now I really have to wonder how she's standing on that jet as well. Like, I'm actually really curious. So let me read you guys' your comments. Maybe Star touches him and calls out human, but it doesn't work because Shigi doesn't see himself as human. Speaking of Hulk, the immortal Hulk comic just ended, and we finally have the true origin. Hulk is basically God's wrath given form. He's God's avatar of rage. Okay, so if All For One gets her quirk, he can get his face back to normal. She knows All For One's name is Shigaraki, so she should still be all good. Who decides that what someone's name is? Yeah, that's pretty much what we're talking about, Viz. I hope, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It's just like some of the shots just looks, yeah, it's not my personal aesthetic. Oh, they're typing. Let's see. So All For One has had contacts all around, including America, and not only did he let All Might train there with, he also, oh, sorry. Sorry guys, we'll talk in a second. God, this just feels horrible. Okay, the focus then shifts to the Vestige world inside Shigaraki, and we see that All For One is almost taking over his body like a parasite. He says that he's still incomplete, something like 97 or 98, but Shigaraki's hatred is causing them to become a single being. Full symbiosis! The being is neither All For One nor Tomura Shigaraki, a new identity is emerging. The real world Shigaraki then shouts no, and shakes his head. Star doesn't understand why his heart hadn't stopped like it was supposed to. She wonders if he's not Tomura Shigaraki. All For One starts talking through Shigaraki's body, saying that if he hates him, then he needs to hate him even more. It is this hatred that will give rise to our bright future. Shigaraki's hair comes loose, and his eyes turn white. He remembers his home and says that it was in this place that his hatred began to build up. The last panel of the chapter shows a large explosion in the sky surrounded by black lightning. Don't know. At least it wasn't done cheaply. I mean, I appreciate seeing All For One taking over the man like a parasite. I think I put the image there, guys. Like, if you look up a little bit, I have the image of All For One merging into Shigaraki. So it looks like the legal name got to be used to make for the quirk to work. I guess so. We'll have to see. And it's the explosion with black lightning might have been the quirk that he used to kill Nana from the OVA. Star Tribe is done for. So it looks like its legal name got to be used in order. This reminded me of Carnage when he began to fully control his host body and mind. This is clearly based on the Venom symbiotes. I'm just glad that we're actually seeing All For One turning into an entity with Shigaraki. Now, the only question here is, will Shigaraki be able to do something? Because he is resisting it. Will Shigaraki be able to resist it? At this point, given that Shigaraki needs to be saved by Izuku, what we're probably looking at here is that if Shigaraki's hatred is actually fueling this, what we might have here is either we get Shigaraki hating so much that he breaks the rule that hate is, or like he breaks the hate that the hate. Wait. There's two options. Either Shigaraki's hate fuels the merge even more, or Shigaraki's hate goes so far that it consumes the hate that's fueling the merge and stops the merge by just hating too much. That's a little bit too convoluted. No. It looks like Shigaraki's going to hate himself into being a new persona, as All For One says. And then Shigaraki, in the dark depths of this new persona, is going to be called out by Izuku and then maybe pulled out. Otherwise, you can have Shigaraki trying to take himself back during one moment of weakness. He tries to kill All For One, and that in of itself causes the merge to be fully formed. Yeah, sorry guys. I had to kind of figure that one out. It's just too convoluted. It looks like, let's see. Don't worry, guys. It's an explosion, so she's fine. That's true. All for One is truly a parasite. Most powerful quirks: hate, regeneration, and strength. Yeah, distorted. Now White Despair. What do you think, my friend? What are you thinking about this? I'm not sure if Star and Stripe could make the explosion. So I'll just read that last bit. The focus shifts to the vestige world inside Shigaraki, and we see All for One is almost taking his, I saved the clip. Whatever. Is almost taking over his body like a parasite. He says that he's still incomplete, something like 97, 98, but Shigaraki's hatred is causing them to become a single being. That's pretty critical. I wonder why. Why is Shigaraki's hate causing that merge to go through faster? The being is neither All for One nor Tomura Shigaraki. A new identity is emerging, which is what All for One wants. At the end of the day, he needs Shigaraki's hate. So symbiosis route still pretty good here. Real world Shigaraki then shouts no and shakes his head. Star doesn't understand why his heart hasn't stopped like it was supposed to, so the name's not working. She wonders if he is not Tomura Shigaraki. All for One starts talking through Shigaraki's body, saying that if he hates him, then he needs to hate him even more. It is this hatred that will give rise to our bright future. Shigaraki's hair comes loose and his eyes turn white. He remembers his home and says that this is the place that his hatred began to build up. That does feel like that's the setup for a flashback. But it's a little bit tricky because he says that he starts... If it's the place that makes his hatred build up, then that means he's going full on hate, which is what All for One wants at this point. Imagine if Shiga decides to start his own name and then starts... And this starts the loss of the kid named Tenko. Huh, yeah. So I just gotta ask the big question. How the heck does All for One know that hate is the key to everything? So far, hatred does three weird things. It allows One for All to be stolen. It allows All for One to gain control. And now it apparently the key to them fusing. Yeah, White Despair. I've been asking that the entire time. How does All for One know that hate is the key to everything, right? Where's the scientific studies? Why do these guys just somehow know that having a hate factory is the way that you take over One for All? How does hate erodes another person's will? Like, this doesn't make sense. No, thank you. Thank you for pointing that out, because I've been, you know that I've been saying that for a long time. It's just, there's never been any scientific study about this. Like, how do they know this? Who came up with this? Who came up with this pseudoscience? I truly don't know. Let's see. I don't see any. If there's any new pictures, let me know. I don't know where to look for them though. Off topic, did you see the image of Animal Lady Nagan? Oh, no, I haven't, Ty. Let's see, long hair Shigaraki. Are they arguing in front of Star vocally? No, I don't think they are. They're arguing inside of Shigaraki's head because it's a vestige world. But we need to see pictures. Like, that Star is going straight for the kill shots. American heroes don't hold back, I see. No, well, she didn't actually go for the kill shot. She gave him an opportunity to not die. I'm thinking the reason why the hate is causing them to combine is because Shigi's own individual is fighting against the full takeover, which just fuels it more and causes a mass contradiction. I don't know, man. Yes, White Despair. Fully agreed. Fully agreed. Like, the hate thing has always been nonsensical because it just doesn't make sense why they know that this is how this works. It's never made sense. So I'm glad that we're now full on going into this area. Okay, so where are you guys seeing the picture of Shigaraki's hair? I'd like to know. So if Izuku ever gets angry, he'll fuse with the first user? I don't know, man. Hard to say. It's just weird that All for One was able to use hate to fuel everything. Unless All for One has a quirk that empowers him. Oh, hey, Black Fox. If All for One has a quirk that makes him power up with hate, like the more I hate, the stronger I get. Similar to stress, the more I stress, the stronger I get. If he has a quirk that lets him do that, then this kind of makes sense. But otherwise, I don't know. Thanks, Sarge. Hey, Leela. Thank you, Sarge. Let me check that out. I can't believe this woman got legalese. And you know, in the if you go back and you look at my video that I put up, I did put in the clause for if all for one is sneaky. I do think this kind of counts because this is 100% sneaky, man. God, this is the worst. Oh, maybe that's why Shigaraki's wearing a suit. That wasn't Shigaraki's will. That was all for one's will. That'll be pretty funny. Uh, that'll be pretty funny. Shigaraki's long hair. That is, yeah, that's a new identity. Yeah, I guess all for one's really living his dreams right now, man. All for one's living his dreams. He's actually got a full head of hair again. Good for him, man. Good for him. Shigaraki's screwed. Like once this hair takes, like this guy's not getting a haircut. That's it. Shigaraki's screwed. Um, I think the new identity is now formed, and this isn't. This is now the symbiosis route. I think now Shigaraki's gonna be in the deep dark depths of his psyche, most likely, and now it's gonna seeing the hair. The hair is such a giant statement. I now do think that Izuku is going to be reaching out to the new identity and trying to pull Shigaraki out of it, trying to let him come back and take more control of the new identity. Probably, it's just hair is such a big symbol in It's such a big symbol in Jump that I can't take this seriously anymore. I can't. I have no hope for Shigaraki because these people rarely ever get haircuts. Maybe rage is connected to one for all. One for all is also fueled by hatred. Of course, hatred of injustice, but hatred nonetheless. I would have just called it anger. I don't think it's hate. I think it's just anger, right? Because Izuku doesn't hate Monoma. He just got angry. All for one is strong in the dark side of the force. I can imagine having a hate fuel quirk. I honor the emo era. I guess it's a good thing that All for One doesn't feel hatred, or else he fused with personalities of everyone he's ever stolen a quirk from. I guess so. And Google, yeah, we're talking about. The only reason I see for hate being the key is because of Star Wars. The whole Sith powered by hate, breaking limits, and taking over bodies. Yeah, no, but I need a reason why that works. I need a reason why this one guy's hate is able to do so much. Because, like, why are quirks and why are ghosts bending over back? Why are metaphysical contents or elements bending to hate, right? It's just like, why is everything bending around hate? I think Hody will find a way to keep Eraserhead out of the last big fight. Yeah, pretty much. People will want to see him fight at full power even for a little while. And gotcha Google. Maybe that's why he gave him a new name ahead of time when he was young. But I don't want to give him that much credit. Actually, like, yeah, man, like, maybe. Exchanged his baldness for extremely chapped skin. It looks like Stars and Stripes has been taken out. Bestias needs to do a haircut intervention a la Bakugo. Did she get taken out? We'll have to see next week. It's really that explosion. I think Hody tried to use X-Men logic, but being Shadow King astral entity and they got psionics power. Do you think the new person will try to kill original One for All and do its own thing? I think that's still possible. It depends on whether or not Shigaraki has a moment of clarity. But if Shigaraki has a moment of clarity and tries to kill the original All for One in a moment of hatred, he screws himself over because by vestige rules, it's likely All for One's going to become even more powerful inside of Shigaraki's mind. That might be the 1 second of hope that really screws him up for the rest of the thing. Good, came back with some goodies from the con. Oh, cool, Black. But for Shigaraki, let's see. Put a pic in the Discord. I remember when people were saying that Star was going to get the One Piece treatment and get off screen. Shit was funny as hell. Quirks are by a lot, so pretty much how like certain it could also affect quirks. Yeah, no, I'm aware of that. But at the same time, there's so many other things here. It's just like hate's doing way too much, I think, Miguel. Because at this point, like here's the thing, like why is Shigaraki's hate more powerful than the will and the feelings of 9 people who absolutely don't want to break before One for All, or sorry, All for One? Why is Shigaraki's hate, a completely manufactured hate, somehow unlimited compared to the feelings of 9 people who want to do their best against against All for One? Like when you start bringing in emotions, you better do your best to justify why dying wills are weaker than a man-child's hatred. Like seriously, you have to please invalidate dying wills in front of hatred. I would legitimately like to hear someone give me the argument for why dying wills are weaker than one of the most base emotions in human existence. And mind you, it's because it's a base emotion. But at that point, you are entering into like some dubious philosophical territory when it comes to these feelings, especially given how hate ultimately leaves people with more problems than it doesn't when it comes to just how those emotions work out. Mind you, we're also talking about emotional theory here, and at that point, we're going to be crossing into pseudoscience if we're not careful. But that's like my overall issue with it. How do you justify one feeling being stronger than the other? And mind you, anime does it all the time with like love overcoming everything. But if we start going down this route of giving hate a distinction, then you have to be prepared for love and forgiveness to come back in here and be the things that ultimately step up. But then at that point, you have to be looking back at the vestiges. The vestiges likely feel love for a lot of people. The vestiges likely have positive feelings powering them. So what statement do you ultimately want to make about people's feelings here? So it just becomes kind of circular. An explosion won't kill her. Remember, it probably has to do with his quirk. Do you think this may be due to Hody possibly trying to cut corners as we are in the last section of manga? There's a few parts that might be an effect here. Like the speed of this, I don't know. Because hate comes from hurt, pain, and suffering. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Like, it's very visceral. But at the same time, you actually have dead people who have suffered at the hands of All For One and are still standing against him. I see All For One trying to create the perfect evil entity burned from trauma and hatred. Things All For One lacked, combined with his twisted mind. Still, how could he come to this conclusion? Why is it necessary? Maybe the users don't really have strong emotions. They're there for circumstances. But remember, Miguel, the users tell us that One For All is based in the strong sense of justice that they have. Remember, they have a strong sense of justice. These are people that even when they were being beaten down, believed in things enough, even when they're on death's door, to pass it on. Like, this is the issue that we're getting into. When you go in here and you devalue the last moments of these people who, even when they were dying, didn't break on their morals, even when they didn't break in front of ultimate evil, even when they chose to go down fighting, you're going to devalue that by saying they don't have strong emotions? Nah, man. Nah, and remember, Hero Academia also is a story about people with their backs against the wall trying to do their best. No matter how you look at this, you can play whatever thing you want about hatred, but already in the narrative, hatred is not going to win out over these other emotions or over the idea of heroes not giving up and ultimately overcoming incredible obstacles. Like, the story's already busted this. And that's why, like, if we go and we start talking about why hatred is more than the other emotions, you're going to end up in circular logic where you're going to end up devaluing the people who are ultimately going to win at the end of the day, which in then makes the initial statement of devalue them incorrect because they ultimately win at the end of the day. This is the problem that we're kind of walking into if we start playing the game of comparing these two emotional bases to each other. And so that's ultimately why. It's just tricky. It's tricky territory. Honestly, it makes me think of Green Lantern's core will and the Red Lantern's core hatred. Maybe Hody is basing it off of DC's emotional power. Or, he's just basing it off of like a history of anime and manga. Like, remember, love versus hate has always been, or love versus anger or revenge. It's always been a big thing in fiction. Like, nothing's really changed here. Emotions are emotions. Going back to Death Arm's words, one bad comment can counter 10 good ones. Yo, but that's an issue of human psychology, man. Like, look at all. Okay, sure. One bad comment can counter 10 good ones, and yet Endeavor still goes on. Yo, bring it in there, man. Like, just because you're a little bit sensitive to people's criticisms. And honestly, that in of itself is probably more reflective of the problems of being a creator. because that logic, one bad comment counters the 10 good ones. You hear that again and again from creators if you're listening on YouTube. I'm pretty sure that was a moment of self-reflection for Horikoshi. But mind you, that's really important, but that says more about the person receiving the comment than it does, again, the comment itself or the emotion behind the comment itself. And look, if you want to go and look at Death Arms, 100% you can't. But you're comparing Death Arm to quite literally people who are tested as doing the good thing even when they're dying. That's who you're comparing Death Arms to, man. Do you want to say Death Arms' mental state is the same as the Vestiges? If you're going to do that, if we're going to start applying these general anecdotes, let's apply it to Endeavor as well. And then I'm going to say, why hasn't Endeavor given up the way that Death Arms hasn't? No, you can't play that game in this particular regard. All for One getting Star's quirk would make him insanely OP, which is why I'm doubting he'll get it. It would get ridiculously hard for the heroes to try to beat him if he does. Seriously, how does All for One know any of the things he does? At this point, I can't take it seriously at all. It could be reason that the Vestiges may feel emotions and things like that, because they lack a physical to overcome their will with the right circumstances. I mean, yeah, but now we are fully going into pseudoscience, trying to justify or trying to define the nature of the Vestiges. Like, heck, we still don't know the nature of the Vestiges. We don't know if they're actually copies or if they are full-on souls. Like, when All Might dies, is the thing that makes All Might going to be transferred into the Vestige? We really don't know in this particular regard. The reality is the Vestiges are still able to be there, and they're still able to have complex emotion. So it's still dicey territory, because ultimately you're using emotions to counter metaphysics, and that gets really dicey. And I think what's important to we can spend all night debating this, but what really matters is whether or not this breaks story. And in this case, the problems really come with lack of consistency or just asinine conclusions. That's really the thing that this kind of stuff creates. You create situations that seem extremely cheap. And so as we go into the future of Hero Academia, if we are going to be going into hate versus dying wills and all this kind of stuff, you have to be questioning now, like, okay, because we as humans can't even define what these emotions can do, since emotional awareness isn't something that we're very good at, and because we also don't have any good established ideas of the afterlife, we have to pretty much accept whatever the author says goes. And the problem here is, because we're dealing with emotions and metaphysics, things that we have no rational base compared to something like muscle strength, we're going to be in a situation where the author might do something stupid, or the author might do something that makes sense within his internal logic, but then it's like, well, that's really cheap. Why is, and like White Disperse pointing out, why is hate getting all this attention? Why is it able to do this? Why does All for One know that hate was going to be able to do this? It opens up a lot of big problems when you start going into such loose ideas. And so in terms of practicality, again, the fact that we're even debating this is indicative of the problem with diving into this type of material. And then definitely, if the author makes any sweeping statements about what emotions mean or what the Vestiges are and how they relate to emotion, I'm 100% going to comb through the series, and I'm going to find all the spots where I think that logic is broken in other places. Because when you start going into these kind of metaphysics, unless you have an extreme background in a particular doctrine, you're going to screw something up. Because metaphysics is so woo-woo and feely-feely that it ends up not working as straightforwardly as something grounded in physics would. And again, like, if we're going to talk about it, like in this one chapter, we ultimately have Shigaraki being able to beat out Star and Stripe over an identity crisis. Mind you, made better because you actually have All for One inside of him trying to take over, but you know they're playing semantics. She got beaten out by semantics, which is really unfortunate. At the end of the day, if you call out Shigaraki and Shigaraki says, "Yeah, what's up?" That's his name. There's no way around it. Like, what if Shigaraki was going by a villain moniker this entire time, right? And actually, that's something I would like to know. I want to know if Star and Stripe, when she's going up against villains, does she call them by their villain moniker or does she call them by their real name? Because if that's the case, then this girl knows that names are actually a little bit more important than they seem. And this girl should have known to back away the moment that she heard Shigaraki having an identity crisis. But what can you really do when you're dealing with such a loose woo-woo power? I'll keep reading your guys' stuff, though. My theory is that decay quirk is a accumulation type quirk that deals with how much the user hates something, and that's what All for One is latching onto. Well, Ken, that's something. The bearers of One for All have a lot of integrity and grit in their own way. Speaking of emotions, the finale of basically Hulk forgives everyone that wrongs him, and all his personalities fuse into a single whole Hulk. Maybe forgiveness and acceptance is the key. Well, I mean, like, you're gonna have Shigaraki being redeemed by Yuzuku. To be fair, Shigaraki isn't his first attempt to creating the symbol of fear. That's true. I don't know if you already talked about this, but Star and Stripe is busted. Yeah, Poison, we talked about it. I just found out that I was a real person. All this time, I thought he was a theoretical physicist. And with that, goodbye. Okay, King. Ultimately, the reason why Love and Justice wins is because it's many people. If they were alone on their own, they would lose to hatred. That's what it means. It has to be many people. See, the issue here is that, well, mind you, like, if the author wants to say that it's many people coming together and that's what ultimately wins, then yeah, sure. But then, like, this one gets a little bit tricky. Like, if the author wants to say that that's how it works in his world, that's totally fine, and I have no real problem with that. Like, I won't have an issue with that. But you know what? I don't think One for All's brother. I don't think One for All's brother ever lost. I don't think One for All's brother ever hated him. I don't think he gave in to hatred. And if we go into the real world, like, you know how heroes of myth are. Heroes of myth are people that don't give in to hatred. Like, heck, if you want to go and you go biblical, like Jesus, even though he's being crucified, is still asking for people's forgiveness. Like, you're going to be making a giant big statement if you want to say that these people give in to hatred. But for Hero Academia, that'd actually be a lot safer to do, because All Might would be like the best example of this, and All Might has given in to hatred before, you know, momentarily. But if you want to go with Miguel's rhetoric, that one could work, and that one would be a little bit harder to contradict, just because we have a precedent of people falling to hatred before. Hatred by itself, that it takes the efforts of many people to counter it. And again, Miguel, you know, like, you're stating that, but that's again, certain doctrines would just flat out say, well, certain doctrines would agree with Miguel and some others would disagree. So that's why, again, like, on this one, we're talking metaphysics at this point. And again, Miguel has like, what Miguel is saying has precedent within Hero Academia, especially like between the One for All symbology and then All Might's general status. Yeah. What are the emotions that All for One feels? Does he even feel anything? We talked about this before, but isn't it Shigi's hate that All for One needs for power? Yeah, no, definitely. All for One needs Shigi's hate. We don't really know about All for One. All for One definitely carries grudges. He probably feels stuff. Just because hatred is the driver for All for One Shigi, it doesn't necessarily mean these properties apply to Izuku and One for All. The story already implied that One for All may not function in the same way. Yes. But Alex, just to make sure, because I didn't see you here earlier, one thing that we are questioning is why exactly hate is the thing fusing it. Like, what is the mechanism that allows hate to fuse it together? Because hate shouldn't be something that brings things together when you think about it. And that's why, like, I'm thinking, like, if All for One specifically has a quirk powered by hatred, then that at least makes more sense, because then there's something that's using hate as a fuel, instead of hate just being this catch-all weapon or catch-all element that All for One can apply to any situation or any metaphysical situation. The whole vestiges remind me of Force Ghosts in a way, but the Force Ghosts are just dead people being able to retain their concept of death. Looks like All Might death is our answer to that. Yes, Deku better get all the rest that he can get. He's going to go against this big of a monster. The living being in front of me shall die if they attack. But yes, delving into these concepts can be difficult to make tangible in any reality. But I agree with what Trip is saying. It's a problem if it breaks the story logic. Yeah, at the end of the day, that's the only issue. What we just have to avoid is the author making a statement saying this is how reality works in his series, and then finding spots where the story disagrees with it, where it can't be true. That's the only thing we have to watch out for. And really, again, this is where you need something like Miguel's stuff that is backed up by stuff that we've seen in the story before. I saw someone make the comment earlier this week that I think perfectly showcases just how silly, absurd All For One is. The statement was, remember when you understood that chicken and we got food poisoning for a week? It was me, Deku. I was the chicken. I'm going to call it. The heroes, in my opinion, are going to be late to Shigaraki, will fuse with All For One to create a new persona and beat Star and Stripe. All For One will then bring his buddies to Japan and try to get All For One. But yeah, White Despair, I need to know how you feel about this, because you're the one that I'm most interested in. I was going into this thinking that symbiosis is fully formed, and you thought this would be Shigaraki's big moment to stop it. So what do you think here? Do you think we're still going towards a stop next week? Or do you think new personality Shigaraki is here to stay for a while? Like, again, from my perspective here, I'm thinking new personality Shigaraki. I'm really happy that we are going full symbiosis. Because that's that's the thing I was talking about for a long time. I think full Shigaraki symbiosis. I think symbiosis moment of weakness. Shigaraki goes and kills All For One, screwing himself even further and showing how stupid he is in the process. Because that's been what Shigaraki's about when it comes to his interactions with All For One. And then this leads into Toga needing to save Shigaraki, and this leads into Izuku ultimately saving Shigaraki and Shigaraki having his last hurrah or something like that. And as for like next week, at this point, I really think Star essentially lost the fight when she couldn't figure out why Shigaraki wasn't being affected. Like, the moment that she said that and she wondered about what she knew, she essentially made the mistake. She has lost the fight. She has given him the opportunity. I think at this point, Star is probably going to go down. Don't know if she'll die, but she's probably going to go down. What she should really do is lock her quirk up. She should just use New Order to make her quirk unstealable. And that'll be the way to go. Because otherwise, like, this quirk is too broken. You don't want Izuku going up against this quirk unless Izuku's second user quirk is super broken. Yeah. At this point, that's what I think is going to happen, man. I think she's got to lock up that quirk at the last moment. Elsie said, just read the chapter. I understand her quirk, but I'm a little confused on how her quirk isn't... Her quirk... Wait, I understand her quirk, but I'm a little confused on how that isn't technically too broken. Oh, no, the quirk is... the quirk is pretty broken, right? Like, it's broken when used against chumps, pretty much. So, question, looking at the anime My Villain, why did Shigaraki's voice change? I know it was in the manga, but it was more jarring in the anime. What was that supposed to mean? I don't know. Just, he broke his vocal cords or something? I don't know. I feel that All For One's days are numbered very few. All For One basically just finished everything he can do before the end of the series. There's nothing more than that All For One can contribute. Unless he actually steals One For All, then All For One won't be longer in the story. Yeah, no, man. You keep saying that, but if All For One gets dusted by Shigaraki, All For One's coming back with a... Like, I'm 100% sure if All For One dies, he gets empowered in the Vestige and screws Shigaraki further, man. Like... But no, White Despair, what I'm more interested in is what exactly you think about the symbiosis situation. Like, what do you think is the trajectory here for Shigaraki? I remember the Sith Lord whose hatred kept him alive no matter what injury he suffered. The only thing to kill him is basically talk no juice to make him give up his rage. Even if One For All is a quirk that has been mostly paid up, it's been noted that anger is a source of power. As long as Izuku controls his heart. Sappy, but I like the sentiment. Yeah. Do you guys think Shigeki can steal her quirk? Just got on, did I miss... Yeah, Kenneth, you missed the spoilers, man. Kenneth, do you want me to reread it? I can reread it for you, man. Just let me know if you want to reread. What if she makes herself quirkless with her own quirk? And if anyone else got here late and they want to reread, just let me know. Although All For One is singling out hatred, it seems most readable that intense burst of emotions would be a driving force for any quirk to function to its highest potential. I agree, Alex. And my situation there is that I just want that acknowledged, right? Because that feels a lot more fair than just singling out specifically hatred. It just feels more fair to me. Like, if you say the intensity of any emotion powers it, I think that's completely fine. Mind you, some quirks are specifically powered by some kind of mental element. like the stress quirk and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's what I really want. I want to understand what exactly are the rules here when it comes to the emotional spectrum. You'll have to clarify what exactly you meant there. How could screw over Shigaraki more? In this chapter, All-For-One seems to achieve the fusion he was trying to achieve. And gotcha, Leela. And yeah, White Despair, remember what I've been saying, man. The reason the All-For-One vestige will screw over... The reason that the All-For-One vestige will screw over Shigaraki more, or has the potential to, is because we don't know to what degree the All-For-One vestige can get supercharged if All-For-One dies. We know that there is a mechanism that allows the vestiges to still grow within vestige space. But what I'm thinking is, if you have a situation where Shigaraki is able to get a moment of clarity because of the strength of the vestige, if Shigaraki kills All-For-One and causes the last little bit of information to transfer over to the vestige, it's entirely conceivable that All-For-One takes full control. He now has more power within Shigaraki. This is really only important if All-For-One if the vestige and Shigaraki are in conflict. If they're in a more or less even standstill, if the All-For-One vestige gets any last little bit of power that pushes it over the edge, that's what screws Shigaraki. So I'm basing this entire thought on the fact that the All Might vestige isn't fully formed, because I'm pretty sure that thing is getting fully formed if All Might dies. There's no other way around this weird behavior. So that's the issue there. If All-For-One gets killed, mark my words, this is my bet, All-For-One is going to be fully formed inside of Shigaraki more than he is now, and he's going to gloat that him being killed was part of his plan, and now he's fully going to do whatever he wants. That's what I think here. What we're seeing here is an All-For-One vestige that is incomplete taking over Shigaraki. Mind you, we are going to have this new symbiotic existence, but when we come to the symbiotic existence, what I think is going to really be playing out is that this thing is going to be more All-For-One than it is Shigaraki at the end of the day. And, you know, again, White Despair, I really want to understand how you're interpreting this, because in this chapter, we see a moment where Shigaraki is screaming in defiance of All-For-One. The kid is screaming against what All-For-One is doing to him. What do you think All-For-One is planning for Shigaraki at this point now? Is what I want to understand here. But yeah, when it comes to the vestiges, my thoughts are the current All-For-One vestige isn't the complete vestige. Whatever we're seeing here is All-For-One at a disadvantage on Shigaraki. Once he gets killed, the vestige fully forms, and then things get worse for Shigaraki. If Shigaraki is going to be looking for moments of clarity, he's probably not going to get them anymore. Shigaraki is going to be at the bottom of an abyss, and Izuku's going to have to save him. That's probably what's going to end up going down, because we need the Izuku saves Shigaraki rhetoric to come back in full force. Look at the new spoiler. There's some good shots of Star. Gotcha, man. I'll check those out. I had Jerry do it now. Oh, okay. Deku combines. If we didn't seemingly have this fusion happening this chapter, then I agree that it's possible to gain more power after. However, the way the things currently stand, I don't personally think it's possible for that to occur anymore. Okay. I know this is demented, but I hope Star gets dusted. Her character design bothers me. I know. So let me just go into it. So I'm going to reread the spoilers here. The chapter begins with one of the pilots of the jets answering Star's question from last chapter. He says that this is Tomura Shigaraki, not All-For-One, and that he can use shockwave attacks. The jet then activate a force field and asks Star if they are going to attack and retreat. She replies, smash, obviously. They then get into a specific formation and go on to attack. Meanwhile, Shigaraki is talking to himself, saying that he feels weird. At the same time that he knows he's Tomura Shigaraki, he simultaneously has no doubt that he's All-For-One. He begins to attack. He uses a combo of radio waves, push, and encumbrance, but the jets dodge it. Shigaraki says that it's a contest to see who will touch the other first, but Star is already preparing to go all out. She says, in a space 100 meters away from me, the atmosphere ceases to exist. So just a quick note for those that weren't here. Star can just touch. If she touches empty space, she can affect all of empty space. That's what that pretty much says. So like the quirk is contiguous. Soon after, we see a huge transparent star forming around Shigaraki. And actually, it is actually a star, like a stylized star. So she might only be able to affect things in star space, like I don't know. His eyes begin to bleed and he cannot breathe. Star and Stripe quirk is called New Order. By touching something and calling its name, she can impose a new rule over it. While Shigaraki is stunned, the jets start shooting lasers at him from all directions. The pilots think that they haven't beaten, but Star warns that it's too early to brag. Shigaraki combines Reflect with Diffuse and sends the lasers back. One of them goes towards Star, but she touches it and says the laser will be held by me, which indeed it does. Shigaraki's body starts to regenerate and he jumps off the Nomu towards Star, but she does the same and lands a punch right in his face mid-air. We then see an internal monologue from her saying that she can only create 2 rules at a time. She always keeps one on herself, which gives her super strength. Star starts talking about how she was saved by an exchange student who came from Japan when she was a little girl. So this was pretty much the flashback, which pretty much says that this fight's over. She and her family were on the way to Santa Monica Pier when they were approached by a robber. While she was begging for her little sister to be spared, All Might appeared and defeated him. She said that those who antenna-like hearers will forever be stored in her mind and that he became her spiritual master. That's why she made her own hair look like All Might's, only with 8 antennas. She wants to contribute even more to peacekeeping than he did. Shigaraki is pissed because everyone keeps talking about All Might no matter what country they are from. Star says that is precisely why he became known as a symbol of peace and warns him that her quirk also works on people. Then she says if tomorrow Shigaraki moves even 1 centimeter, his heart will stop. And this is where we all on the chat just became absolutely freaked out because it's like, crap. The name. The focus then shifts to the vestige world inside Shigaraki, and we see that All For One is almost taking over his body like a parasite. He says that he's still incomplete, something like 97% or 98%, but Shigaraki's hatred is causing them to become a single being. That being is neither All For One nor Tomura Shigaraki. A new identity is emerging. The real world Shigaraki then shouts no and shakes his head. Star doesn't understand why his heart hasn't stopped like it was supposed to. She wonders if he is not Tomura Shigaraki. All For One starts talking through Shigaraki's body, saying that if he hates him, then he needs to hate him even more. It is this hatred that will give rise to our bright future. Shigaraki's hair comes loose and his eyes turn white. His hair gets longer. That's what that means. He remembers his home and says that this was the place that his hatred began to build up. The last panel of the chapter shows a large explosion in the sky surrounded by black lightning. And those are the... that's it. Those are the spoilers. All right. Let's see. Let's see. All deck combines the quirks to make a crazy new busted power. I'll never forget Terry. Let's see. I know this is demented, but I got that. Things currently stand. I don't personally think it's possible for that to occur anymore. So you don't think it's possible for the vestige to gain more power after the real All For One's death? Yeah, no, man. I do legitimately think you're setting yourself up for failure on this one. Let's see. She's too broken. It would be multiple quirks going against potentially the most busted quirk so far. 2 rules at the same time is one too many. How would Deku compare? So this chick is trying to stop my boo's heart. That doesn't sound heroic. She actually, Leela, if you look at it, she gave him an opportunity there by putting in the condition that he has to move more than a centimeter, right? So that's actually mercy. White Despair, I'm still trying to just... one second. Wait, one second. This is referring to Jason. If Tamura... Oh, sorry. This is just very quickly for Leela. If Tamura moves even 1 centimeter. So it's just like she put a condition on it. Now let's see. How was she able to allow the rule to Shigaraki when she... when did she touch him? Or was it BS of him touching the atmosphere and also touching the atmosphere? No, I think it's the moment that she punched him. Because there was a moment where she was able to slap him pretty hard here. There it is. She lands a punch right in his face in midair. I think that's when it happens. I mean, I think we got to see the timeline properly, but I think that's when it happens. So she has more images on Twitter. Gotcha, man. Thanks. Gonna check. But So White Despair, I need to, before the chapter started, did you think that we would be seeing an image of All For One taking over Shigaraki the way he is currently taking him over? Like, did you imagine that image? I need to understand where exactly you're on for this one. Can she allow Rule 34? Even she doesn't have enough power to make that rule. Let's see. More images on Twitter. Ah, there they are. Let's see. Oh yeah, she does have a few pretty shots here. I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree on this one, Trip. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I guess the question I would put is, if All For would give the why doesn't All For One kill himself? I mean, he might just be waiting for Shigaraki to do it, because if Shigaraki tries to kill All For One, that'll be an ultimate act of hatred for him, and that's when he'll know, like, oh yeah, great. But I mean, like, are we really gonna start asking why All For One does the things he does? I mean, All For One is a puppet of the narrative, right? And I mean, we've made a lot of jokes about why doesn't All For One do things in a more intelligent way. Yeah, no, I think it's just gonna be a giant statement. Probably why he doesn't kill himself. It's just a giant statement like, ha ha ha, you hate me so much, Shigaraki, and that is what screwed you over. I want you to hate yourself even more, because even now you are still doing what I wanted you to do. You are still the creature I created, right? That's how I feel All For One can spin it. Yeah, man, it's just. So she is a different person now. Is it an amalgamation or something? Yeah, Poison. It's a symbiote. And yo, White Despair. I think to give you more context on my opinion, what we could be seeing with Shigaraki, the new personality might have, let's say, some mannerisms of Shigaraki. Let's say in the new personality has 50% mannerisms of All For One and has 50% mannerisms of Shigaraki, right? Let's play it like that, because this makes it a lot easier to understand. A perfect 50-50 meld. Now, if All For One ultimately goes through, if the vestige dies and it gets super powered, then that's where the interesting thing happens. The personality traits of Shigaraki start diminishing. So now you're in a situation where you have maybe 75% All For One mannerisms and 25% Shigaraki mannerisms. This isn't strange. This idea of a creeping influence on a character isn't strange. This kind of personality melding isn't strange. I think there was even there was one time a series about a character being slowly taken over by, oh, there we go, Negima. Negima is the one that would have done this the best, showing how to what degree a symbiotic relationship can be fully warped. Mind you, Negima is a little bit more one-sided, but the point here is, like, there's a nice spectrum to give enough room to justify a superpowered vestige, and in this case, you know, there's so much, especially now that we're in the woo-woo land of hatred, there are so many ways to express an increase in control in a mental space. The other thing too is, like, All For One's significantly older than Shigaraki, and All For One probably has a stronger mind than Shigaraki. Shigaraki might have a strong will, but All For One has a stronger mind. And unfortunately, Shigaraki's only claim to fame here is the hatred, and All For One, for some reason, is able to use that hatred to power him. So the one thing that allows Shigaraki to break rules, unfortunately, is being used against him. So he is really screwed, no matter how you look at it. Let's see. Jason, what was your question, man? Oh, okay, I see it. Jason, the answer was, there was a part in the spoilers where Buddy Girl punched Shigaraki in the face. That might have been when she applied the rule, and then she just said it later just to, like, give the readers knowledge of what rule she applied. I guess I can't see it being portrayed like that anymore now that they've seemingly fused. It would just be this new personality mocking itself. If they were still operating like they were before. This chapter, then I could absolutely see All For One pulling something like that. But personally, I can't see it now that they've fused into the seemingly complete new personality. Yeah, no, man. White Despair, I think you're taking this too much as a 0 and 1 situation where you have a perfect meld. There's a lot of ways that fiction has expressed this type of problem before. Kingdom Hearts has a simple expression for this as well when it happens to Xemnas with Terra and Xehanort. Like, to just paint it more to you, you could... there's just so many creative ways of expressing this. You can have a situation where internally two forces are fighting, right? And they're always fighting and they always seem to be 50-50, right? That's the internal situation. But then on the outside, you have the product personality that doesn't show any sign of that internal fight, because that internal fight is a metaphor for the actual power dynamics, right? So the product personality is acting on predispositions pretty much, and like I said earlier, 50-50 split. Now if in the internal fight something happens and the thing shifts so that one side is winning more, that side's properties and traits start coming out more while also respecting the initial part of the other side there. So what you ultimately end up in that situation with is just flatly a new personality that is more similar to All For One than it is Shigaraki, as opposed to a personality that is equally comparable to both personalities. That's why there is room for All For One to take more control. And if you tell me that that doesn't make sense, then I don't know what to say in response, because so many other stories execute on this idea of mental battles resulting in a gestalt personality. Did I use the right word? I don't think it's gestalt, but a unified personality. It's an issue of expression, and I think this is where we're going down here, probably. If Deku masters everything besides his hidden quirk that isn't revealed yet, do you think he would be able to stand up against Star and Stripe? I don't know, man, because I don't think that new quirk is a reality warper. I don't think Izuku has reality warping powers, man. If Deku masters everything, let's see. I still need the gamer references, and I think Spinner would agree. She feels like a Chainsaw Man character, yeah, and a Bleach character. Let's see. We'll have to see in the next chapter what exactly his new personality is like. But personally, when I see this as being is neither All For One nor Tomura Shigaraki, a new identity is emerging. One sec, I just want to see what White Despair is going to say. And White Despair, just to let you know, I enjoy talking with you. I enjoy getting my ideas fleshed out here versus yours. I mean, like, if we're looking at it, we're probably going to end up in a situation where we have a nice balance of people's ideas here. Just because most times, like, well, we kind of saw it here with this situation with Star and Stripe, but all of our little ideas did have some kind of kernel of truth within it. So probably, given how this particular chat is, we're probably all on to different pieces of the puzzle here. So by the end of it, in the same way that Shigaraki is going to be an amalgamation of two personalities, we're going to end up with an amalgamation of elements of our ideas coming into this thing. I don't see a lot of room for internal conflict. I don't see a lot of room for internal conflict. And if in the next we are able to distinguish All For One and Tomura, then I'll fully agree that what you propose seems possible. Man, White Despair, I think you're being carried away by All For One's hamminess. Like, guy, like, again, Shigaraki is going to be at a point where Izuku needs to be able to reach into him and pull him out. Like, that's where Shigaraki is going to end up. He's going to end up in, like, that black abyss that we've once seen him in before. That's where All For One's going to lock him up as he is taking advantage of his hatred. And Viz, I'm not too sure. I think I'm pretty behind on that one. But yeah, we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see where this goes. I'm pretty confident where this ends up for Shigaraki, but yeah, this is going to be a rough one. If the second quirk is a reality, then that explains the overall situation with Night Eye. Maybe. Hey, Trevor, you got into the tree. Oh, no, got that. I say Hulk is a good example too. It became a key for survival by melding the body and the strength of Hulk with the mind of Banner, which created a new personality, Hulk's character. It'll be weird if they do the same thing for Deku whenever they have their class again. It's pretty interesting with the spiritual and metaphysical. I would agree with that. I know that the second user quirk is a long race, but do you think it got way more powerful than it was like a century ago? Is the first quirk to be added to One for All? I think so. It definitely has to be stronger. I just need to see what exactly this new personality is like. Yeah, me too. My guess here is it's going to be more of Shigaraki saying like I'm neither All for One or Shigaraki. It's probably going to be more of that, honestly. And it's probably, I do think we're just going to see an expression of both. Like, we're already seeing it a little bit here. Like, Shigaraki doesn't like wearing suits, but he came to this fight wearing a suit, and he also was wearing the cape. So that might already be the product of the final personality. You have All for One's fashion sense combined with Shigaraki's fashion sense. Like, if you go back and you look at that Shigaraki costume, it's terrible. The guy's wearing short slacks with those little sneakers that he always wears, and he has that horrible cape, but then he has the suit underneath. If you already look at that there, that is probably the product Shigaraki. And again, what better example do you have of a symbiotic fusion? You have the horrible shoes with the really too short slacks, the suit, and the cape. The suit comes from All for One, the cape and the shoes come from Shigaraki. So that already might be the symbolic product of the fused personality. Yeah, White Despair. The times that he wore suits prior to the All for One quirk was when Redestro put him in a suit for their big conference, and Shigaraki said that he was uncomfortable in the suit. When's the second time? I only know that first time. Like, I knew someone was gonna bring that part up, which is why I brought up that he's uncomfortable in the suits. It sort of takes away from All for One and One for All, since they are the pinnacle and fastest growing quirk singularity type of examples, while a random quirk comes up that bends reality. Oh yeah, Leila. Like, Shigaraki's shoes aren't as iconic as Izuku's though. All for One loves suits, while Shigaraki loves the shoes and cape. Now I'm questioning how was the second able to keep up with the third user, considering how speedy he is. Oh, probably like the third user wasn't using his quirk at all times, right? That's like, and probably Fajin got a little bit boosted. Yeah, that's the other thing we should probably consider. Oh, god damn it, I screwed that up. Oh, no I didn't. Great. Do 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 do.
Everybody stand back. Evil conquering. Worthless.
Oh, okay, so we also see Shigaraki in a different suit when he's having a conversation with the doctor about how the Nomu function. Oh, okay, that's cool. Well, great. Great that that's the only other instance that we have of Shigaraki wearing a suit. That's pretty great. So, I guess like the question here is White Despair. When Shigaraki shows up in front of oh damn it. When Shigaraki shows up in front of Star and Stripe, is him wearing that suit, can you tell me that is 100% Shigaraki's will acting out there? That's the next question to just properly define our positions here. Did Shigaraki wake up and himself, without influence from the vestige, say, I'm going to wear a suit? Do you think that is the case? Because at this point, I might just say that I've seen All for One wear rags, or like I've seen All for One wear a prison outfit, and therefore All for One likes wearing prison outfits. Because if you're going to bring up the two instances that we've seen it before, like really the instance where the doctor is the only other one that we have that's actually valid. The first instance is one that's caused by the environment that he's in. So let's get that one straightened out on that regard there. Shigaraki got Black Lightning while Izuku got Green Lightning. Just thinking about how Bakugo thought this quirk was so damn amazing. He had the capability of becoming the strongest hero in the world, and you have All for One, Rewind, a New Order. How do you feel about Jujutsu Kai and the My Hero Academia main villain swapping? Jujutsu Kai has main villain swaps? I don't think Jujutsu Kai has a main villain swap. Like, Geto has been pretty good from the beginning. Oh, okay, gotcha, Bright Despair. Gotcha. Shigaraki, Izuku got so many parallels. Izuku got 8, 9 vested that are like spectators, while Shigaraki got a vested that's basically a leech. So yeah, Bright Despair says no trip. I would absolutely agree that this suit is symbolic of All for One, while the other aspects of his outfit are symbolic of Shigaraki. I think anyone who says otherwise is just being ridiculous. Okay, cool. And of course, Bright Despair, like, the only reason I'm asking you so much and not other people is because you're the one that challenges me quite a lot with your alternate interpretations. So I don't want you to feel like you're being singled out or anything like that. Like, the other person that I know I debate a lot with is Miguel, because Miguel sometimes has really good points, I think, and I come around to them. But yeah, okay, so I'm agreed with you on that one. So that might be, so with that as the common point, that might be the current expression of what we should be seeing with the new Shigaraki. Like, I don't think we're going to go into a space where Shigaraki, for some reason, likes neither capes or suits. So ideally, we should be seeing that. If the author wants to show All for One taking more control, I guess the way to do it now would be show the costume becoming more like All for One. I guess that's the neatest way of showing that Shigaraki is losing ground in the internal struggle. That would be probably like the most poetic way of doing it. I'm trying to think more here. Going into the future here, I think that All for One now is going to have a more or less obedient Shigaraki, just because if there's 50% of All for One controlling Shigaraki, that's likely going to lead to the new personality actually working with All for One more. So when we look now at All for One's statements about my or the quirk will be mine, if we can now see Shigaraki as more of an extension of All for One as well. And so now we have to reconcile what exactly All for One was saying in the last chapter as per White Despair's concerns here. But yeah, no, right now when I'm looking at the previous chapter, All for One still seems to acknowledge a distinction within Shigaraki. But given that All for One gave Tenko his name from the very beginning, you know, he probably already had that planned out, so he's probably all cool with it. Yeah, if the symbiosis sticks, then Shigaraki's going to be a lot more subservient towards All for One than he has been before. Now, I don't know about that hair. The hair might legitimately just be All for One's desire to not be bald. Did you read my last comment? Ty, let me see. Oh, yeah, I agree, Chip. Would think All for One would have better sense of style. He's trying to make his own Frankenstein. Yeah, I got that one, man. If you watch Sakugan, what did you think of that ending? I don't think I've seen that one yet, Random. You debate me when it comes... Oh, yeah, Leela, yeah. Sorry, Leela. It's because you're not around as much as Miguel and White Despair are. I mean taking so much developing, spending time with Mahito and Shigaraki to just put in the other bad guy. Well, for Shigaraki, I think it's a little bit more aggressive because you have this situation where you have All for One leeching off of him. For Mahito, I don't think it's a big deal because Geto was with Mahito the entire time. Like, when you're looking at Mahito and Geto, you can see that Geto was an enabler. And when you look at the knowledge base, Geto always knew more. So you could always make the case that he was always in control of the situation. What you actually see with Mahito is that Mahito is more of the dragon, if we're looking at TV tropes ways of describing this. He's the dragon, and Geto was ultimately the puppet master behind everything. But Geto's characterization throughout Jujutsu Kai is less intrusive than All for One's. because this is devoted or distorted talking. So this is, and distorted, I don't think you've been on here for long enough, but White Despair has had a long time observation with All for One that the first All for One before Camino happens is largely very supportive of Shigaraki, and then this iteration of All for One, the Vestige in particular, seems so much more aggressive, and it seems like almost a 180. Geto doesn't have that problem, and that's ultimately what makes the Shigaraki situation worse than the Mahito situation. The Mahito one is still works out thematically. The Shigaraki one is one where it's just All for One talks so much that a good portion of what he's saying can't be correct or honest. What Despair said, I'll need to see the panels and what this new entity chooses as his outfit. I'm assuming that his outfit is destroyed when he's burned by a star. Depending on what the next outfit is, there can be a lot of symbolism. If the outfit is entirely new, that would be symbolic of this entirely new entity. Agreed. We need to see what the final outfit is. Are we going into a new entity that is the product of two, or a new entity that eviscerates the products of the, or the aspects of the two to create an entirely new form? Trip, what do you think will cause the second user to fully support Izuku and allow him to use his power? Probably it's going to be at the last moment against All for One or something like that. Super random, but should I go back and catch up on Jujutsu Kai? I dropped it about 4 months ago. 4 months, that's like 12 chapters. Oh, sorry, 16 chapters. I mean, Alex, you'll go through it really quickly. Because the chapters have been pretty... there's not... 16 chapters ago might put you like roughly during like one of the more dense areas, but after that the chapters are so simplistic. Yeah, man, it'll only take you less than an hour to read them. Has Star's quirk been revealed? Oh yeah, Aki, yeah, it's called New Order. Star can pretty much put a rule on anything she touches. Sakugan is like a combination of Made Abyss with Decadence. Oh, that one. No, I haven't seen it yet. People assumed All for One wasn't being, which I thought was silly. I know, right? Like, it's like this man is, the man takes over Shigaraki when he wants something done to his style. Like, and it's like, this is just the thing that blows my mind. We all know All for One speaks in niceties. He says something nice that's actually really, really concerning when you think about it. Like All for One is just like oh my god, so many people would be just manipulated by this man because they take him at face value. Why take the man without a face at face value? That's ridiculous. Don't do that. No, man. Oh, funny stuff. If there's one thing consistent with All for One is that you shouldn't be taking him at face value, man. Oh, good times though. People are funny. Let's see. Shigaraki probably going to look like chapter 306 color page maybe. That's the one with Shigaraki holding the TVs? Probably? Oh, hey, Going Rogue. I gotta say, though, guys, thank you for being here. This was so fun. I had so much fun with this whole sequence. And White Despair, thank you so much for taking all the time to type out all your thoughts there. Really made it worthwhile. And, of course, thank you, Ty. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Leila, for showing up. Thank you, Miguel, because I remember those conversations were pretty hardcore. Oh, of course, Kayla. Like, you know, when we were having that moment of figuring out that Star and Strife was about to get screwed over because of the name shenanigan. Oh, that was definitely like one of my top stream moments with you guys. That was so much fun. And like the collective sigh that we all had when it's like, oh god, she said his full name. Oh no, like that was great. Like truly, thank you all so much for being here. That was so fun. And man, we started this thing out so hopeful, and even White Despair there was like, okay guys, that's it, we're done. This thing is done. No, it was all a wonderful time. The collective sighs were amazing. Oh man, that poor girl. And who would have thought freaking Reality Warper? Man, shit. God, that was the worst. Oh, no worries, Jason. Man, yeah, no, I think this one was so good. I think we were all like on our A game on this one. I think I'll put up like a highlight video of just going through the spoilers and just being completely throttled by the things that we were learning. Okay, I think I might actually be in trouble here. There we go.
Can't handle your dream.
Come on, Noel. Yep, there we go.
Steady as stone, as a dutiful maid would.
Oh, I screwed up. I should have gone after the this guy first.
Crush. Vengeance will be mine. Shudder. There is no escape. I must leave
Oh,
no
still
stone
had that.
unturned.
That's great. Just do some quick healing here. Yeah, no, I screwed that up. I should have gone after him first. The main difference I can make out between All For One and Vestige All For One is that All For One himself tried to come off friendly and caring towards Shigaraki, where Vestige All For One is his actual nature behind the facade. Alex, I fully agree with you. I've been talking about that as well for a few weeks. Like I call the Vestige All For One the id, and the All For One that we see like the ego, more or less, when it comes to Freudian psychology. That's how I kind of see him for that particular issue. Just because, yeah. Because Vestige seems to be more acting on his emotions, so I fully agree with you on that one. Maybe Star's quirk is similar to Shinso in that her opponent must acknowledge the name they call themselves like villain names. I don't believe it's strictly legal names. Well, that's definitely something I would love fleshed out, Ty. Thanks for the... Oh, got that. Don't worry, it gets heated, but nothing bad. Oh, yeah, no, man, like... It gets heated because it's just fun. It's a fun time, right? And I think we're all really excited about things. But, like, I never think badly of any of you. It's more of an issue of... A lot of times I get worried because I think I'm not understanding something. Let's see. I was also asking about catching up, not because I thought I wasn't sure if it got any better, at least in my experience. Oh, Alex. Okay, so it's pretty stable. I think maybe there might be one exciting thing that happens because it's. I think that's within the time frame that you pointed out. It's Maki's stuff, the Maki and Mei stuff. But yeah, no, it's been pretty much just coasting and setup, so that's not necessarily the most exciting thing in the world. Good night, Matt. The only one who can succeed me is me. The Death Note memes that are about to happen. It's All For One. Anything but disappointment awaits for his character. Shigaraki carries the role of main villain. Nah, man. Like, All For One is 100% hijacking this guy, man. And that's going to be the unfortunate thing. All For One's going to hijack it when Shigaraki doesn't behave the way he wants him to. Oh, well, maybe. We'll have to see. Like, at this point, we are doing a pretty aggressive hijack. When you have poor Shigaraki saying no out loud, it's a pretty aggressive hijack. Finish my first story with about 20k. Next will be 40k. Going rogue. Nice, man. Props. I mean, we all knew she was going down. Nah, Black, we were really hoping she would not go down like this. We went from hype woman to All Might Wannabe so quickly. Yeah, out of curiosity, do you think Star and Stripe gets the quirk stolen? Person, given just how... I can't really see the new personality imagining is to steal it. Yeah, no. So White Despair, my official stance on this, I'm really hoping that she doesn't get the that All For One doesn't get the quirk. Like right now, what I'm imagining is Shigaraki tries to steal the quirk, but realizes he can't because Star and Stripe gave herself the order. Star and Stripe cannot, or New Order cannot be stolen, pretty much. If she gives herself the order at the last minute and self-destructs, thereby killing her, first off, author, I don't know what the heck you're doing killing off this character you only introduced for like 3 chapters. That's a pretty nasty move, no way about it. Like, if you're not going to escape anything about treating the female characters nicely here. But that would be the way to go on this one. I think she has to get the last hurrah here. Now, what I'm more interested, like in my mind, it's pretty much guaranteed she's not getting this, or sorry, that Shigaraki is not getting the quirk. The question to me is whether or not she dies. Like, does she get eviscerated pretty much and falls into the ocean, keeping her quirk safe? Or does she get critically wounded while also keeping the quirk safe? That's the big question here. Functionally, though, like, I don't see the purpose of giving this quirk to Shigaraki. seriously, I don't see the purpose of it. Because Shigaraki has so many other quirks now, and he still has super strength. God, man. And like Jason said, super strength is still the overwhelming factor in Hero Academia. I see no reason to give Shigaraki this quirk. It's just... It's not going to change Shigaraki's battle style aside from affecting air. Because it's going to turn Shigaraki versus Izuku into, again, will Shigaraki touch Izuku? Probably not. And if we want to talk about like affecting the atmosphere, well, technically, Shigaraki can affect the atmosphere already with the multitude of quirks that he has. So there's just no purpose in giving this to Shigaraki. Yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't see any reason to give Shigaraki this quirk. I see a lot of reasons to have Star have a last moment here, but I'm not going with that one. We were all hoping that she was going to be different, but we realized she was just because she was built different doesn't mean there was going to be a difference. Horikoshi really does enjoy putting his female heroes in tough situations. Mirko, Ryokyu, Midnight, Mount Lady, Pixie Bob, Ragdoll, and Stars and Stripe. Let me know if I missed one. I think it's possible Star uses a quirk to erase her own quirk so that new person I can't. Oh yeah, so White Despair, you're pretty much you and me, man. Like I'm pretty much along those lines as well. I mean, this is like the stockpile quirk and the transfer power quirk mutating and becoming one as one for all. This is the hardcore version of it. Her quirk is so busted. Ah, hello Dion-sama, yeah. Yeah, pop 2 for sides. For both sides, her quirk is just crazy. Shigaraki's already broken as it is. He could just say if Izuku Midoriya moves a muscle, he will die and takes the quirk. Yeah. Do you think that Izuku could cover himself in Black Whip and get a power boost? I think so. I think he could like make a Black Whip armor. I think so. The thing is, since sealing one for all is a goal, Deku can actually get away with being touched by Shigaraki and not dying. Oh, that's true. That's true. Good point, Jason. That's a really good point. I wouldn't be surprised if New Order can't affect one for all. Whoa. Oh, yo. Actually, that'd be hilarious. Wait. I just thought of something. If Shigaraki, for whatever reason, God forbid, gets one for all. Oh, sorry, not one for all. If he gets New Order and he tries to use New Order on Izuku, you could have a situation where Izuku just switches control of his body over to a vestige to negate the effects of New Order. Like, that could happen. If we want to go down this route. Have you watched Sword Guy? No, not yet, Going Rogue. Or no, I haven't. Yeah, no, if we go down that route, that would work. I think I've seen this in an anime before, though. I think there was an anime that got around targeting by switching personalities. But which one was it? Did Yu-Gi-Oh do this? No, Yu-Gi-Oh was just able to get around mind reading. No, but I think there was an anime that got around this kind of targeting by switching personalities. Like, you can't target someone with different personalities. Okay, so you guys are thinking Yu-Gi-Oh as well, huh? But that was mind reading, right? That's a little bit different. Yeah, so we're all thinking Yuki versus Pegasus. Guys, we're all so basic. Well, not basic. We're all so unified. That's actually pretty funny. Okay, thanks, guys. Atom versus Yamabakura as well. Think he switched with Yugi as well. Oh, okay. Which Yamabakura fight did he do that in? I'm still supporting a quirk realm existing that connects all the quirks. I mean, yes, Pete. Like, you know, I'm a proponent of mass consciousness because some quirks like Ida's and Ending's quirk, the road paint quirk doesn't make sense without mass consciousness. You're thinking of Kenichi Trip. He used personality switching in the last episode in an epic fight to fool an enemy. Oh, okay. The final battle where he switches between each person through the fight and you hear each vestige voice. Yeah, that'll be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. Pretty sure it was the last battle between them. All Deku would need to do is get angry and then he'd be safe from the quirk. Yes, White Despair. Yeah, pretty much. Like, oh hey, if All for One can overcome One for All's rules by getting hatred, then Izuku can protect himself by surrounding himself with love. or anger. Are the vestiges strong enough to handle control of Izuku's body? I know all they can do was a flick of the finger when they're not fully met, but what about currently? Probably. Like, just to make it easy, just say yeah, they can. I mean, at the end of the day, one for all is a power. Actually, you don't even have to switch through all the vestiges. Give it to All Might. If you give All Might control of Izuku's body, Izuku's not going to be in any problem because All Might knows how to use one. Like, All Might's a genius. He knows how to use All for One in such a perfect way that he never incurred any negative damage from it, right? He's a genius when it came to using that quirk. So really, the easiest thing to do is just do a personality switch over to All Might, because he for sure has full control of that quirk's power. I was thinking about that too, Black Fox, at an earlier point. But if the thing is, I'm not sure if New Order. I'm not sure if Star and Stripe will be able to use New Order on Shigaraki to save him, because she doesn't know the name. Without knowing his name, no one's gonna be able to figure out his name. And even if this is a situation where Tenko is the name that actually works on him, like, no one knows it. If Deku just gets angry, then he'll start to fuse with the vestiges, and then we have the same scenario, and we have this chapter where the quirk doesn't work. What if quirk is cursed and supernatural? Huh. Kenichi kept imitating his master personality to fool the enemy from adapting to his final fighting system. Ah, gotcha. Okay, gotcha, Tai. I definitely didn't think Yu-Gi-Oh! I was thinking the brothers from Get Backers. An enemy switched personality in order to dodge Ban's evil eye. Oh, okay. Well, that's another good example. All Might could go from crawling through the mud to crawling through Izuku's skin. Yeah, All Might would know if he researched Nana's family history. See random. I don't think All For One knows the fourth username. Going back to Jason here, he said the issue with that, though, is All For One should know all the names. So even if he knows all the names, it depends on the order. Like, what if All For One applies the order, but the switch happens right when he touches him? If you think about it, it's roulette, kind of. What if All For One goes to touch Izuku and he aims for All Might? He says, okay, Toshinori won't be able to move, but then even if it's All Might at that moment, what if he just switches over control to second user and it's like, it's not Toshinori anymore, brah, it's me, and then he moves around, right? So I think New Order is going to be, if we're gonna be loose with the name stuff, I feel like New Order is going to be easily countered by Izuku. If we're being kind with these rules, it's going to be easily countered, and then it'll just turn into a funny game. I think for All For One to win this one, he has to make a fatal order, and he has to get it just right. He has to get it at the exact moment that the vestige has taken over and doesn't have time to switch over, I think. Oh, I did say good for a quick one-time block. Oh, yeah, no. In terms of the one-time block, I think they're going to be able to block it multiple times. Because, unfortunately, because New Order can only apply 2 orders at once, he can only ever target 2 people at once. And ultimately, like, he's going to have to switch between them because he's not going to be able to get all 8 of them. So, even if for some reason the Izuku and All Might personalities get locked down, the other 6 can just do whatever they want, pretty much. Yeah, I don't know if she knows his name either. Nana could tell Izuku his name, though. Brandon thought, if All Might does die, the moment Izuku finds out about it, when he sees instead of Aura Might. Oh, yeah, Alex, people have had this thought before, if that's how it works. Oh, and Dion. Yeah, Dion. So you're a new one here. It's cool to have you here. But yeah, Alex, some of us are kind of betting on that one. So we're waiting to see if that's going to happen. That Izuku finds out All Might dies by seeing the vestige. To be fair, the best rule he could do is that I'm immune to damage. Agreed. Actually, like, legitimately. Like, I think All For One should be able to think about this kind of stuff, and if he's smart, All For One just goes preemptive and puts 2 orders on himself, like the immune to damage and I'm all powerful. Oh man, if All For One just gives himself All Might, like if All For One just gives himself super strength because he gets it, like the meta is now, yo, I gotta be I gotta be super strong. Actually, another good order for All for One might be I am above quirk singularity. If he does that, then his body's gonna be perfect for any quirk. We also got a nice My Hero Academia Shonen Jump volume cover with Tamura and Izuku. Oh, nice. Anyone lays eyes on me cannot move. Oh, I wonder if he can do that one, Jason. Because that order affects other people in relation to his body, right? That one might be an illegal one. Oh, sorry, Ty. I see Izuku having an avatar moment with all the vestiges speaking through him at once. That'll be pretty epic. Wouldn't it be a name to describe that? Oh, they can just call it the One, right? It just kind of rip off. You'd be ripping off Seven Deadly Sins in a little bit, but just pretty much call it One for All. You can even just call the state One for All because it's like one, or All is One. Maybe All is One, or All as One. Yeah, that'd probably be the way to go and call it if he's smart. Once again, we are faced with a problem. Ah, you're right, White Despair. You're right. You're right. If he's smart, but if you know, if All for One really is a child, then kind of makes sense. If All for One really has the mindset of a child, maybe, guys, have we been making fun of a mentally ill person this entire time? Actually, yeah. No matter how we look at it, we have been suggesting that he is mentally ill, or at least has dementia. Oh man. Oh, this is very cash money of us. Oh, we should have been nicer about this. She created a void in space behind him. I'm not sure what limit. Of course, they never said beyond the touching and 2 rule limit. Yeah. Well, the void of space. It's just the thing with the thing with the order that you came up with, Jason, is that it affects other people by acting on All for One. And I'm not sure, like, that feels a little bit too invasive, because what that order is pretty much doing is saying that, hey, All Might, you can't look at me, or you can't move if you look at me. That's the equivalent of just touching someone, except now you get to apply it to everyone. So I'm not sure if that level of rule breaking would be allowed. That's my only that's what I'm skeptical about. Now, as for the void, now Jason, there is something weird. We have to see the final translation, because she never defined in the summary the space that she creates a vacuum in. The only thing she defined was the distance from her, and then it forms a star. So when we're looking at the final translations, I'll be looking for whether or not she says form a star-shaped void behind Shigaraki. The star shape is the real strange thing. I don't see why that works. Also, with regard to this girl's fangirlism, I'm actually pretty happy, because I think I mentioned this, that this girl probably was just someone that was inspired by All Might, and that's why she calls him her master. So I'm actually pretty happy that's exactly how it worked out, because that had enough basic energy in it. So I'm really happy that one came true. And I think a few of you guys also were making jokes that this might be the case as well. I know Ty wanted this to be like a secret love child, but no, it's just a girl that was impacted by All Might. Did you see the animal? He draws some interesting positions. Oh, right. Let me go check this out right now, Ty. I guess Regen lets him survive it, man. What I really want to know... Wow, that is a position. Yeah, Nagant. Queen? You look like a real queen here. Man, this girl is so... Wait, Ipan Jose? Is this Animal Girl? Is that what Ipan Jose means? Animal Girl? Man, Horikoshi, you are really enamored by this girl. Props to you, man. I do wonder if, like, if Buddy Girl can create flat out wormholes, though. It's just like, if you could create a wormhole, that would be really interesting. Like, could you create a black hole? She should have created a black hole, honestly. You know, it didn't work in Bleach when Grammy tried to create a black hole to suck in Kenpachi, but Kenpachi's a ghost. Obviously, black holes won't work on ghosts. But yeah, no, man. I think instead of creating a vacuum, she probably should have created, flat out, a black hole. What do you guys think? To be fair, Hori isn't good at balancing OP characters eyes erase her. So I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't write that scenario with that can't move when you look at them. He wouldn't know how to write that scenario well. I agree with you on that one, man. I wouldn't trust it personally. It means normal girl. Oh, okay, gotcha. Shame Night Eye died, otherwise we would have had the All Might fangirl shipping. Black hole is too dangerous. Ah, man. No, just like turn it on for a few moments and then like turn it off, man. Right? Like just apply the rule, then unapply it or something. I don't know. It's just like, it feels like a wasted opportunity. I would have just sucked him into a black hole. Yeah, I was hoping for a secret love child, but I knew it was far-fetched. Yeah, Ty. Ty, you dream too big, buddy. You dream too big. Guys, I think we've had an exciting night. We're gonna call it in 5 minutes, and we can come back tomorrow and talk more. Hopefully there'll be like some more translations tomorrow, just like to get some details hashed out. But I think, yeah, I think I'll probably call it when we get to this island over there, and yeah, we'll come back tomorrow. Get me some more. He should have imagined Kenpachi's blood to be oatmeal or something for an instant. When he thought of lamest ways to get a kill, imagine using machine guns on Shinigami. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, he was limited by his imagination. She's actually really popular, has been getting a lot of popularity. Cool, Black Hole is too dangerous. Number 13 would beg to differ. Oh, good point. I started watching My Senpai's Annoying, the one with the small office lady and the giant dude. Oh, I think I know which one you're talking about. Okay. You balance OP characters with more OP characters. Yeah, like my style for balancing OP characters is actually legalese. Like I like having OP characters, but I like okay, the way I would balance OP characters is by having characters that are like borderline reality warpers. So the way I balance them out is specifically characters that have a rule that lets them do something. So I'm trying to give you an example of how I balance out my OP characters. I guess like just to give you the idea, it'd be something like saying like I can never burn, something like that, and then just taking advantage of that. That way, if you have an OP fire character, the I can never burn character will naturally negate it, and then can try and deal with other ways of dealing with it. But that's how I try and deal with my OP characters. I'd probably just switch them either to power dynamics or like elemental advantages, or just flat out nature incompatibilities. I'm trying to come up with more ideas here for the characters I had, or that I had come up with for some of the stories. Man, I can't get them. I can't get them into my head right now. Yeah, but no, like for my stuff, I like doing complex power dynamics, which kind of bogs down some of my stories, but it's definitely a fun pastime trying to work out fictional powers. Yeah, pretty much Pokemon weaknesses. Pokemon weaknesses, I think, the good thing with if you're writing Pokemon weaknesses, what's nice about them is like if you model it off Pokemon, yeah, you know, a fire type can still beat a water type if it has like a really high attack versus defense. But Pokemon weaknesses are simple to understand, and if you base a power system about fundamental weaknesses against nature, it just fundamental. It works. It works. It's a simple system. You can't really break it as long as you don't make too many exceptions. That's one way to deal with OP characters, and of course, bringing more OP to deal with OP. I'm trying to think. Another thing I think that is a worthwhile strategy for dealing with OP characters is just having a situation that when two OP characters encounter each other, they kind of just make each other seem normal relative to themselves, so it becomes a more even fight kind of thing. That for a series that would do that would be Bleach, because Reiatsu ultimately decides whether or not your complex abilities work on people. Like, you know, in the case of Aizen, he can ignore instant kills if your Reiatsu isn't high enough. So the way to deal with an OP character like Aizen would be to be on his level of Reiatsu. And that's also a very simple way of saying whether or not complex abilities will work. So yeah, like when it comes to OP characters and you get down into the strategies of dealing with OP characters, if you have OP characters with complex abilities, those are the ones that you have room to work with legalese or semantics of a power. because usually the more complex something is, the more lines of description it has, and that's more than enough room for fundamental reality powers to come in and get involved. If you do like a generic power system like Bleach's, where there's an overwhelming factor that decides whether or not someone is affected by OP powers, then, or like just really instant kill powers, then you can just make the overwhelming factor be the thing that decides whether or not someone even has the right to challenge. But yeah, no, power dynamics are always really fun. Ty, I missed your 2 last comments. The name for Animal Girl means normal women? No, I got that one. Let's see. Star should have pulled out a Kamui from Naruto and just took off his head. Yes. By the way, Trip, did you see her coloring for her quirk? I think so. Pretty much Pokemon make OP characters a cosmic entity or god. 13 quirk has no properties of a black hole since not even light can escape, but Kurogiri was able to fight no problem. Good point. Pokemon weakness doesn't matter that much in anime. People joke about electric moves hitting ground types, but I think that just happened in the originals. I honestly doubt anyone other than Baku actually backing up Izuku. Shoto will be bust with Dobby, and Class 1A will be dealing with Nomu and the remaining escapees. I like how in one occasion Go relied on mere type advantage but got beat in a fight because he didn't know about strategy. To be fair, I never believed Aizen let Soifon even touch him. That's the issue with his Shikai. You never know when you're seeing the truth. Oh, good night, Jason. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me here as well. Good point though, Jason. I never considered that. Anyway, guys, let's start saying the good nights because it is late, and we will be back tomorrow. We'll have a wonderful time tomorrow. Again, thank you for everyone that came in and started typing, and thank you for the new visitors. Distorted, this is I think the second day that you've been with us, so thanks for being here. And Alex, thanks for coming back. It's been a while. Mark, always good to have you here, man. And Kayla, always good to have you here as well, Kayla, because you type quite a bit that I really appreciate. Although, Kayla, I think most times I'm agreed with you, and I think that's why we don't have that much of a back and forth. But let's see. So, good night to Distorted, Mark, Viz, Kayla, Ty, Animamus. I'm surprised those planes are staying. Those planes are staying. Okay, gotcha. Good night to White Despair, Speed, Sarge, Jason, Black Fox. Trying to get as many as I can. We had 18 people here. Dion Sama, Sar. Yeah, guys. Thank you all for being here. And let's see. Here we go. But yeah, ending the stream in 5. Kayla, don't worry. I will find things to debate with you about. 3, 2, and yeah, Ty, you were close. 1. Thank you all so much for wondering. So thank you all so much for